What is up?
Hey.
Hello.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Yep. Thank you
Thanks
for having
being
us.
Here.
Yeah.
We're out of the
stoked.
house.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I bet we're not supposed to be, so I bet it's both a good and bad feeling, right?
Yeah.
But there's only 4 of us. I mean, I'm feeling like that's not a huge social gathering.
Yeah.
And we're
Well,
used to taking weird risks with
Yeah?
roller derby anyway, so it's
Also,
like, oh well.
I think a couple of the folks that kind of backed out on coming with us, they have like kids and loved ones that are like, don't, let's
Yeah.
not take chances. I live alone.
Yeah, I have cats.
Even my dog is actually with my mom right now because of my busted ankle. So, like, I don't even have my dog to like look at me and go, no, don't go.
Yeah. So I was like, oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's probably better for people with kids and old people to stay home for sure.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. It's just me and her and the dog, so
Throw caution to the wind.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I feel we could be a little more risky, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's how I think too.
Especially because, like, I work at Starbucks as well, and we were open until yesterday, and so I was like, well, I'm just going to be around half of Little Rock, and that's fine, and it'll be fine.
People are still going to go get their coffee.
Oh, yeah, they still
open.
had a car show in our parking lot. They don't care.
No shit?
No shit. They don't care. There were people that were walking through our our drive-through because our lobby's closed.
Oh
they
my
don't
God.
care. They were just like, I need Starbucks. My whole family needs Starbucks right now.
It's a weird thing, because without the businesses, if everybody shuts down, that's real weird.
It's been weird driving like around like 5 o'clock on like Monday through Friday, and there's like no one out there.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I have a friend who lives in Chicago, and like last week or pretty recently, anyway, she posted a picture at like 10 a.m. And there was nobody on the highway in Chicago.
It's like a ghost town. That's what it feels like. Or like it feels like Christmas, like how there's no one ever out on Christmas except for, like death and destruction.
Yeah, not the fun part of Christmas,
no presents,
though.
just
Yeah, not good presents if you get presents.
Well, I actually work customer service and logistics for a milk company. And so we have seen this massive need for milk.
For milk.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so we're trying to go, well, man, why, because we ship around to different states and everything too, but it's like during the summer, kids are home and they're drinking milk and, they're not at school. So that normally we see an influx, then, but it's still just this last week way different, and it's different than snow scares because we have snow scares and of course summertime.
Right.
This doesn't compare to either one of those. Like, I have not seen anything like this.
No, I don't think anyone has. That's what is so strange.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
think
surreal. I keep on. It's kind of, this actually reminds me of when Trump got elected. Because just me personally, I was staring at the TV going, "No, wait." But I was really waiting for someone to say, "You got
Like,
punked."
it's over. It's fine.
Because it just didn't feel real. Like, I guess I never really believed that could possibly happen. I was like, that guy's a joke. Sorry, no offense to anybody who is a fan. But I just didn't think that it was possible. And then I was sitting watching the TV just going, no. And so I think I feel the same way now. I keep on going, we don't have these. This is like a movie. It feels like a movie.
it does.
Yeah, I was talking to one of my regulars who's like 80 years old, and I was like, I've never seen anything like this. And he looked at me, he's like, I've never seen anything like this. And that was what was weird, is like several generations like don't know what's going on.
Because the flu pandemic was World War I time, I think, or right after
the Spanish flu.
Well, the influenza thing that was like 1918, so that was like right after World War I, and that's like the last time that America has had that kind of thing.
I don't even think I was thinking about this actually just this morning.
Yeah.
I don't even think like World War II, because that was a crazy thing when we got drug into that.
Yeah.
I don't even think that compares to this. This is so bananas.
Yeah, and I think that, and it's, what's crazy to me is like, So yesterday we were telling customers like, hey, we're going to be shutting down for 30 days. And they were like, people were like, this is just going to pass, right? And I'm like, oh. And like, people just don't take it seriously. And I'm just like, you are part of the problem right now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me.
That's when you're going to tell them it's called COVID-19 because this is a 2019 strain of this virus. So that means that it didn't just blow over in 2019. Why do we expect it to now?
I mean, the people that aren't taking it seriously also don't take science seriously, or
well, it's like there's a balance to it. Like, I see the side where nobody should go out and everyone should quarantine, right? Because it spreads so easily. Yeah. Like, that makes sense. If no one goes out, we'll heal what's there, and then
life has to also go on.
My biggest fear right now is the economy after it does go. Yeah. If all these businesses shut down, the only ones who are going to make it out are the big guys who can afford to do it.
Especially because, like, that was something we were also talking about because they're giving us 30 days paid leave at Starbucks. And we were like, well, what happens in 30 days if things, like, don't get better?
Yeah.
And all this stuff. And I was just like, because I also work for Rockin' Paws and we do pet sitting and dog walking. And our business has all but tanked.
Yeah, because people are home. They're like, we'll play with our own dogs.
They've canceled like all travel. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's put a lot into perspective.
I was going to go back to England. We're actually flying to Paris, and then I was going to take the train, the Eurostar, back to London.
Not anymore.
And then Matt was going to meet me, and we were going to go to his. I was going to go stay with him in Surrey, and we were going to go do a little castle tour, right, in South England. That's over. Yeah. That was going to be in May, and that's over.
Yeah. We had to cancel our first home game in April because there's just no way.
Yeah. I mean,
because even if everything got all better and we started back to practice next week, that's still not enough practice time for us to really be ready for a game. And like because we would have had 3 games because we normally do them back to back, take the whole day. And so that's like 3 different teams getting ready. There's just not enough time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely strange.
Yeah. But.
And like I said, I keep on waiting for someone to pinch me or wake. Like this is a movie or a dream. I'm waiting for it to be over, but
we're gonna make it through though.
Yeah.
Our bloodlines have survived every other virus and everything so far, so we just gotta keep going and hopefully keep going.
The only thing that's is somewhat good about it, I think, is that the whole world is suffering from it right now.
Yeah, it's like a sense of unity almost.
Yeah. Well, even if something, I mean, we're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna take some losses. I mean, there's gonna be people that die from it. There already has been some people that have, and there will be more that will, I'm sure, by the time it's done.
Yeah, it'll get way worse before it gets better.
But we'll get through it. Dealing with the aftermath, we'll all have to deal with it together. It's going to be a world economy situation, not just the U.S., which is good. My biggest fear, though, is just the little guys, man. Like Starbucks can afford to pay their employees for 30 days, but a little local cafe, they can't.
I have a bunch of friends that worked at Izzy's down over off Cantrell, and they told me that they had just filed for unemployment. And, they don't have work anymore. It's not that like they got laid off. There's no coming back.
Yeah.
And it's like hopefully after this they're able to reopen, but the toll this is going to take on small business owners is just it's kind of heartbreaking.
Well, and then that trickles even further to the suppliers, the people supplying milk, I mean, people are still going to have to get their milk, but if the businesses go out, that's a huge chunk there.
I felt pretty secure with my job being fairly essential with what I do within our company, and then with our company itself being essential because it's a commodity that we're providing. So, but if it gets bad enough that they have to say, which I've already heard rumors, but I think that's just people freaking out because some people just like to make a bad situation worse. But if they were to say, like, okay, we just have to shut everything down. No one goes to work. Everyone stays home, including, like, a milk company. Then, nobody would get their milk. And then I would worry. I realize that there is a possibility that could happen.
Sure.
So I'll worry when that happens. But But, yeah.
I do like the fact that this has put more emphasis on people that say that, like, grocery store workers, gas station workers shouldn't be paid more. It's really putting an emphasis
Because
on
they're
what
on the front lines right now.
Yeah, like how much we depend on them to be there. That it's not just some high school kid's job. Like these are the people we're depending on right
Think
now.
of all the pizza delivery guys right now.
Boy,
yeah,
I bet they're
that's
making
what
bank.
I was thinking. The delivery people.
You know,
Yeah.
pizza delivery guys, all of the Uber Eats and Bite Squad folks. Because, you know, everybody's like, I'm going to stay home. Let's just order in.
Mm-hmm.
Even your post office workers.
Yeah.
I saw something that that most state governments have said that that the post office will continue to run, even in restricted zones, just because everybody depends on it so much right now.
Yeah.
Which is bananas.
Well, and like all the things on Amazon that are out of stock, things that are not even like not just your toilet paper, but I mean, I went on just because right now I'm kind of restricted to these like capri leggings that I have because jeans are really hard to get on with a broken ankle that you can't really bend and a boot and all that.
Right.
So I was like, man, I kind of need a couple more pair because I can wear shorts to work, but we're not technically not supposed to, you know, because it's a little too casual.
It's still kind of cold outside too.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, man, I need another couple more pair. Well, I've this favorite brand. It's on Amazon. I've bought them last few years. I go on. It's like the only ones in my size, and they have like 52 or something varieties of colors and stuff like that. The only ones I can find in my size, they're like fuchsia. Which I like it, you know, hot pink fuchsia, it's cool. And then like these geometric orangey blue, I know those are the ones I got. But I was just kind of like, you can't get black, like all your regular, and I'm like, man, they ran out of capri pants. Like
everybody's impulse buying everything because they're at home.
Exactly, and they're all shopping online. Nobody's going to the stores. Poor Kohl's.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
Not only that, but also so many people that make those clothes are being told don't go to work.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're gonna run out.
Yep.
I mean, you can only make so much when if nobody's there, you know.
I still feel like that. I still feel like there's like some way excessive hoarding going on. I do understand like stocking up, because like, hey, I'm gonna be making less trips out into the world. Let's make sure I have stuff here at home. That makes sense. I don't know if at this point we should all be stocking up for the next 6 months to a year.
Well, I think that's everybody's problem. They don't know how long to stock for.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I mean, for me, I was just kind of like, I'm going to try to have, I have enough toilet paper to last me a good month to month and a half or something like that. I'm like, that's probably cool, right? I don't need to buy more.
I just got lucky. We still had toilet paper beforehand. I just got
no, that's what I'm saying.
flushable wipes.
But when we heard that you better go out and get toilet paper, it was just like it was the day of my surgery, and my mom's like, "Do you have plenty of toilet paper?" I'm like, "I mean, yeah." Okay. Like I'm one person in my house, you know. Like,
yeah. I'm
like, yeah, I'm cool, and she's like, "I mean, are you sure? Because it hasn't run out in Altus yet, where my folks live. There, we could get you some." I was like, I mean, I think I'm good. But then that's me thinking of the next month or so, not me thinking of we're going to be out of toilet paper for the next 6 months. I might be in trouble then.
Yeah.
I stocked up on cat food. Like, I got 2 bags. Like, I had 1 bag of cat food, and I went and got 2. I was like, you know what? If I go hungry, like, whatever. I'll find some canned stuff. But I was like,
I'm
my
not gonna
cat's
lie.
gotta eat.
I called my best friend, Nikki, who's also my emergency contact, because my family's all a few hours away. So I called Nikki and was like, I mean, if you're going out, I really need a few things, and might as well stock me up. But mine was not food, it was booze.
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm going to be stuck in my house, like, please, I need a little more
And Corona's
alcohol.
definitely on sale right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've been seeing them making all kinds of posts trying to get that shit sold.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy right now, for sure.
But we're gonna make it through it. We always do. Somehow, some way, we will get through it.
Yeah. I think you would think, like, this was another thing I was thinking about this morning. Technologically, you would think that we would be better prepared for things like this, because you look at like the only thing that I think could compare to this situation right now, not in deaths but in the widespread panic, would be like the Black Plague.
Yeah.
Right? And like that killed a lot of people, and it took them forever to figure out what exactly was causing it, because they just didn't have the technology to do it for a long time, you know? So you would think that would get us further ahead, but I think it really held us back a lot in this situation, just because a lot of the travel that we're able to do now, I think, is what caused such a massive spread of it, and to so many countries so fast. And with the internet and being able to get word spread so fast, and the media these days with their clickbait, like, panic just went bananas, you know what I mean?
Right, and it's also everybody's opinion or conjecture or misinformation on top of the actual truth that just gets spread.
Technology gave everyone a microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then also all the cuts that were made to the CDC 3 years ago, you know, we weren't in a place where we could really prepare for it. And then we get to this place and everyone's kind of got the ball in their hands. They don't know what to do as far as the government is concerned, because we weren't funding the CDC that is able to prepare for these things and look into these things and all of that good stuff.
Which, looking at that, like, now all the money that the government's shelling out for this, all that unemployment has to come from somewhere. This stimulus they've been talking about that isn't much of a stimulus if no one can go spend their money. It's crazy. The world is crazy right now.
Especially seeing, like, everything to come as far as, like, whether or not renters are going to be able to stay in their homes, whether or not, like, apartment complexes are going to be evicting people and, like, shutting off power and everything. And for the most part, that's starting to change some, especially with, like, Energy here has said that for 30 days they're not going to turn anything off. But it's a scary time to think about, like, am I going to have a home during this and everything like that?
I've never been more glad that I decided to buy my dad's crappy old house that he wanted to sell me at face value. He was like, we just want to get rid of this. They had moved and had held on to this little old house that they had never really wanted to put much money into because they never planned on keeping it. And it's like it's this little, over in, Oak Forest, this little 1950s, little cottage house, and it's not much, but I've spent the last 5 years working on it.
She's cute. I like her.
And I love my little house, and the thing I love most about it now is that it's very affordable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's helpful.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if these homeowners and these mortgage companies and these, electric companies, gas companies, they start cutting people off and kicking people out, who are they going to get in?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. They're losing money, and then also they're putting people on the streets that are going to be desperate to feed themselves, feed their families, and also people can't quarantine if they're on the streets.
Exactly.
Like, it would cause so much panic. Like, I think that, like, right now everyone is panicked, but if that were to start happening, it would become chaos.
It would. Mm-hmm. It would.
Yeah.
And no one would win in that.
No.
Because
everyone's going to go bankrupt.
Yeah, there's at that point there's no money coming in, but there's even less money coming in because you're not going to get anybody new in there. Not in this situation. Nobody's making money. That's the problem.
Looking for a new apartment.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they are,
Although my mother did say that when she came back up to check on me this week that she wants to go car shopping. She does need a new car. Her car is dead. It was 2005 Mustang, and it's now sighed its last sigh. She got the word from the shop at the school where she teaches, and they have a body shop, and they were like, yeah, I think, sorry, Miss Washington, but yeah, it's going to be its last little hurrah there. And she's like, oh, crap.
Really? It's probably a good time to do it. I mean, I'm sure those guys are desperate to make a sale.
But then my mom was asking me, like, I mean, when we're supposed to be social distancing and you're only supposed to get out for necessities, I guess buying a car isn't a necessity, is it? And I was like, yeah, sure it is, Mom. Because I'm the devil's advocate here. I was just like, yeah, I'm egging her on. I'm a little devil on her shoulder. That's what I meant. And I'm like,
I mean,
yeah,
at least
come
you're not
on.
telling her to like fly to
Go buy a
Hawaii
car.
or something like that. Like, go travel right now. Everything's so cheap. Go.
Yeah. I really hope that they don't cancel RollerCon, but I say it's so far out. It's really not. It's July. But, like, that's one thing I haven't canceled yet was my RollerCon plans. And we'll see.
Yeah, that's what's also weird is, like, for us, like, it was weird when, they canceled roller derby at first for 2 weeks, and we were like, okay, whatever. Like, it'll be fine. And now it's been a month or it's up to a month, and we're not sure where it'll go past that. And then there's been talk of, like, all the tournaments for the year are probably canceled, and, like, it's just a weird place to be. Seeing, like, because especially I feel like roller derby across the nation really unifies us, and seeing all of it be affected has been really kind of heartbreaking in a way, especially seeing the official post from WIFTA, just being, like, seeing how nationwide spread this is, like the sport that we love so much.
What is WIFTA?
So WIFTA is Women's Flat Track Roller Derby Association.
Okay.
And that's
World Association.
World Association.
Well, no, I mean, no, it's the whole world. Like, there's Canada and Australia and Europe all over. So there's leagues that are members. So. And
that's kind of where, like, that's kind of like the hub of like where we get our insurance to play. And, like, if you're a WIFTA registered league, it means, like, you have certain expectations, certain rules you have to follow. Like, any real, I don't want to say real, but, like, any.
Well, there are other types and associations for roller derby. Like, there is still bank track roller derby, and then there's MAID roller derby, which don't ask me all the things about MAID because I can't really tell you. Because if it's not my sport, I don't give a crap.
Who cares, right?
Right. But so there are, like, some, of course, and there's MIRDA, which is the Men's Roller Derby Association, which is actually more, it's like right there with WIFTA because it's both flat track and everything. But there are other types, and like MAID roller derby, they do have, it's like a shorter, they have different rules. Like, it's just really weird. I've been to a MAID game, and I was sitting here going, I don't know what's happening. You're doing it wrong. It's wrong. They have weird rules. They're allowed to go backwards on the track. Like,
I've never seen a MAID game. That sounds
the penalty
so
box
weird.
is in the center of the track where the refs are. I'm like, that's weird. But so there are others. Anyway, my whole point is that there are other roller derby associations and different ways to play. And then there's, like, the Outlaw League, which because they still do, like, the WWE, like, all the penalty stuff that we would get sent to the penalty box for doing.
Yeah.
Throwing elbows and pulling girls' hair and shit like that. So there's others, but WIFTA is, like, the biggest one for, like, WIFTA decided they wanted to be, like, a legit sport, and they wanted to be recognized and taken seriously as an adult full contact women's sport. So
Sure.
Yeah. And I think they've done a good job. I mean, it's still kind of an underground sport, but
it's very different from what people always expect from roller derby. Like, it is a very high contact sport, but it's not a violent sport. Like, I mean,
you got a girl with a broken ankle.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
This I did to myself. God, I wish that it had been. I wish I could say, man, Crack laid me out, because she has so many times. I've just, like, why didn't my ankle break then when I was doing really good and Crack just came and knocked me off the track? She did it like 2 weeks before I broke my ankle.
Her name is Panama Crack, by the way.
Yeah.
That's her full player name.
And I really wish I could have a story where I could blame it on her, but it was all me.
No, yeah, whenever I had my injury, it was during a drill that I'd done 100 times. Like, I wasn't doing anything cool on the track. Like, I just got hit and fell wrong, and that was it.
But then again, there is a bonus to not having one of your teammates be the reason that you're, like, broken.
Yeah.
Because they feel horribly guilty.
Well, sure.
And they get a little, like, traumatized when they have to go hit somebody from then on. Like, it's like, oh, God, I broke you last time.
So what exactly are the rules to roller derby? Because I have no idea. I've never seen roller derby, just...
So, There's
it's played on a flat track, which means that it's any flat surface. We actually lay down tape and rope, and we make an oval track.
Yeah. If you ever go to the Arkansas Stadium, you'll see our actual track. It's outlined in teal. We're
actually lucky that they actually let us permanently paint our track onto the surface, but a lot of teams or leagues just have to... Their space that they can rent is like a state fairground building or something like that, and they have to put it down every time. So then you have to measure and get it all laid out perfectly, because it does have to be regulation.
Sure.
And so there is, on that track, there is a jam line and a pivot line. They're 30 feet apart.
30 feet.
Yeah.
See if you can get me some visual aids here.
Yeah,
I was about to say, I can draw it out if I need to.
What exactly... this is like...
You could Google, I believe, a flat track...
roller derby dimensions?
Flat track roller derby diagram, probably. I'm pretty sure I've actually Googled...
Yeah, that's
look,
perfect,
yay, that's
actually.
it. That's actually it.
So you see where there's the two lines at the very bottom, like in that like pink and green one, or pink and blue one?
Yeah. That's
at the very bottom, there's those two lines.
Yeah.
Whenever it
Oh my god. I thought I can just...
Yeah. So we're like where your mouse is.
Yeah. So the back line is the jam line, and the front line is the pivot line down here at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's 30 feet apart. So you send out 5 players for each team.
Okay. There
is a jammer for each team, and the jammers start behind that jam line. The other 4 for each team are the blockers. They make up, and the four blockers for each team together, the 8 of them make up the pack. All of the pack has to start in front of the jam line, but behind the pivot line, anywhere in that 30 feet.
Okay.
And the object is the jammers are trying to get through, and they make their initial pass, which is just breaking through the first time. As a blocker, I'm going to try to stop the other jammer, and the other blockers are trying to stop my jammer.
So you have 2 jammers.
Yes.
That start at
opposing teams, and then 8 blockers.
Yes.
4 and 4.
4 and 4. Yeah.
The initial pass, it's the first jammer to break through their opposing blockers. Mm-hmm. They're called the lead jammer
because they got out first.
Yeah. And so a jam is like, I don't know any other sports, but I'm going to say like a play, and it can go up to 2 minutes, which when you're pushing bodies for 2 minutes, it feels like eternity.
Yeah.
So one of the things about being lead jammer and why it's so important is that the lead jammer can call off the jam whenever. It's a very strategic thing. You know, they can do it whenever they're tired. They can do it if they feel like the other jammer's going to score more points than them or whatever. So
you score points. So nobody scores points when they first get out. But when they come around... when you come back for your second pass and every consecutive pass after that, after your initial, you get a point for each of the opposing players that you pass, and your hips have to pass theirs. So if I'm lead jammer, I got up first. When I come around, I'm going to hit my way, swivel my way, do whatever I have to do to get past the opposing players. And I might be given assistance by my blockers, depends on the timing. If they're not actively blocking the other jammer, they might assist me in moving some of those blockers out of the way so that I can get through.
And so for every lap, you can score up to 4 points.
Yeah.
But
you used to score on the jammer, so it used to be 5 points. They actually changed that last year because it's kind of like... There was just a lot of debate about it. It was just kind of like, so it's that person, the other jammer, it like negates each other. The scoring on the jammer is it negates each other. So they just kind of...
Essentially, they're racing.
Yeah,
essentially.
Kind of.
And trying to pass the blockers.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so if you are what she was talking about being defensive, so if you are that lead jammer and you got out first and you came all the way around and then this jammer got out right behind you, they're hot on your trail. If you can bust through your opposing blockers real quick, if they're right on your trail, if you can bust through and call it, which you tap your hips like this twice, Yeah,
Actually, there's a funny story with that because my friends came and saw my game, the last home game we had, and you see people doing this, and it looks like they're going like "suck it" or something, and they're like, "What is going on out there?" And they were like, "Oh, they're calling the jam." Okay, but it looks weird if you don't know what's going on.
You're supposed to touch your hips like this, like a tap, but the problem is that if you just do it with little Barbie hands, which some of us do, but your jam ref has to see it before it gets called, and so most players want to make it very obvious because they need to call it right this second.
I've taken after Daisy Fever because she'll go, "I'm calling it," and she'll yell, and that's what I've started doing because I'm like, I'm done, get me out of here, I'm out. That's how I always feel whenever I'm a jammer and I'm having a call.
So if I just got through and she was right behind me, but I don't want her to score points because it's a defensive measure, so I'm just going to get my points and call it.
Yeah.
So
it's weird to try to visualize.
So hold on. So you keep going until you call it?
Until either you call until the lead jammer calls it, or the jam is off after 2 minutes.
Because each game is 2 30-minute halves. And each 30-minute half is made up of 2-minute jams. They could be shorter than 2 minutes if the lead jammer calls it early.
Yeah, I know that we've had some jams that were like 30 seconds. Like not very long.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you've got a team that's playing really defensively. We actually had a couple of games like that last year. The Brawlers did, that the other team continually got lead, and they knew that all they had to do was get their points once and call it. And just get their points once and call it. And so the jams were just, and they knew that they were making our head spin because we have lines that we send out and we rotate and take turns. And they knew that they were keeping the pace of the game and of us jumping on and off the track. Our heads were spinning.
Sure. So. That's a strategy in sports.
Yeah. They were controlling that pace, and it threw us off that game.
So what if? So you have let's say both jammers break through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they're neck and neck, and they come up to the blockers,
mm-hmm.
right? If they both get through there, and then one of them calls it, do they both get those points?
Yeah,
or is it just the one that calls it?
They both get their points. So even if you're not lead jammer, you're still scoring as long as it's going on. As long as you're breaking through, and you can still score. And that's another strategy. If you're lead, but the other team is ahead, you need to get more points. So you can either break through and call it so that you get your points and keep them from doing it, or if you just know that you've just got to, if you're really close, then you want to match them points for points, and you just keep on going through. There's just different. I'm actually not a jammer, so I'm not as good on the jammer strategies, but normally my jammers yell at me, this is what we're doing, and I'm like, cool.
Okay. And then, so the blockers are just trying
Araya
not
jams.
to let the
I don't
jammers
really.
through.
She jams. I really don't.
I don't like to jam. I mean, I do. I hate it, though.
As a nice little 5-foot person, I normally just squat myself somewhere like this and try to sit on someone so that they don't get through.
Yeah, the blocker's job is just entirely don't let the jammer through. Really, it's don't let her pass your hips. Because, like, if a jammer... So I guess this is another important thing. So legal hitting areas. So you're able to use everything from your elbow up.
Or
so
from
like
the top of your pad,
this
really.
meaty part right here.
Okay. And
then you are able to use everything down to your knees. So like if you want to hip check someone, you want to hit someone with your shoulder, you can. The only thing that's illegal is the center of your back. We say it's between your bra straps. You'll get a back block that way.
Protecting the spine, basically.
Yeah.
You can't hit somebody like directly in the back. Although
you can't kick someone.
Right, because that's a low block. And you also can't and I don't know how, being so short, but like twice I've gotten a high block. I know, right?
I get a lot of high blocks.
Actually, it was because I was falling and I flailed a little bit, so I managed to hit somebody's helmet. But then I'm like, oh man, she just knocked me down. But it's okay anyway.
But yeah,
So can you cause people to fall? Is that illegal?
Oh yeah, you can hit people. You can smash them to the ground. It's very fun.
It depends. I'll say that because you can't hit someone backwards. Because if they
right, you can't hit them directionally in the wrong direction. But yeah, as a blocker, if you get the opportunity and you've got the jammer beside you and you have the opportunity to hit her as hard as you possibly can off the track and on the ground, you want to because you want to make her tired, you want to make her hurt. So when she gets back up and gets back on the track, she's like, oh god.
One of the big things we work on is trying to hit people at a 45-degree angle because that's a legal hit. So, like, if I'm able to hit a block or hit a jammer...
See, but she's thinking as a jammer that she's... That's the deal. As a blocker, I'm not looking necessarily for a 45-degree. She's thinking that she's got jammer brain. As a blocker, I'm just looking for a legal hit. And I don't care how it happens. If you give me any of this, anything that I'm allowed to hit, I'm going to use whatever part of my body. And for me, because I'm short, on most people... I use my shoulder, and I get it right in,
I have a lot of cool pictures of me just laying someone out, and I'm like, this looks so cool.
I really don't.
Really?
Because truthfully, I don't really lay anybody, like, it's rare for me to actually lay them out. I do better at getting in their way.
I'm just such a big person. I'm so tall. I'm like,
I trip people, but not illegally. Like, I'm not sticking my foot out. I just... get in their way, and they're like, and then they have to either go a different direction or fall on me.
Yeah,
it's
very contact-driven game.
So, what kind of equipment are you wearing during all this?
So you have your skates, which are way more expensive than you would think,
and heavy.
Yes, they're heavy.
Yeah.
You have knee pads, wrist guards, elbow pads, a helmet, and then we have a mouth guard.
Yep.
And that's it.
Nice.
There are some players that wear like padded shorts.
Yeah.
Or like a padded chest plate.
Some of our skinnier, players that don't have as much cushion as the rest of us, they get padded shorts or breastplates if they're going to be taking a lot of hits. They have a little bit of extra, but most of us just wear the standard, joint coverage.
I don't know. After I hurt my tailbone, I really thought about getting those padded shorts.
I really don't need anything to add bulk to me. So
it was a weird sound. I'm so sorry.
Your stomach is growling.
I know. It's the beer.
It'll do that to you.
It's fine.
So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. So, really, you're just trying to either pass people or hit people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or both.
Or both. It's usually a mixture of both.
As a blocker, you have basically two strategies depending on the type of jammer that you're going up against. So, as a blocker, you want to slow the game down. Because you don't want to be zooming around the track. You really want to slow it down. If you can slow the pace down, then you can control the game. And being calm means you're operating in a more strategic way.
Right.
So there's two strategies to either just kind of sit on them and hold them and make them push because you can wear them out if you can just form a really strong wall and just sit. You have to be rolling a little bit, but if you can really drag that tempo down, then that jammer is going to get really tired faster. The other option is if you have one that's going to get slow, like me, if I'm jamming, the number one thing they're going to do to me is they're going to take me to the side and knock me out. Because I'm going to be slower to get back on that track. So one of them is going to run backwards so that I have to, because you have to enter legally behind the players that you got knocked out with. Mm-hmm. So I would have to, they'll take me back 20 feet. So then I have to skate back 20 feet and hop in and then do it all over again. And they've reformed.
Yeah.
And it's soul crushing.
Yes.
Sure.
So, and because they're going to be faster than me, that's what they're going to do to me. They know that they can hit me out. So they're going to maneuver me to the side and then knock me out. I have gotten better at like being on my toes and just pushing back like, no, you're not gonna. And then if you can hold out and not let them hit you out, you can kind of step back a little bit and then take a different route and get out of that bad situation. But sometimes it's just going to happen.
It sounds a lot like, it sounds a lot like football, with a person as a ball.
Yep.
Yeah,
and on wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's elements of, like, to me, it's kind of like taking a little bit of soccer, because we are also offense and defense at the same time. Just like soccer, you're going back and forth, and you have to be able to flip the switch in your brain of, like, we were just doing defense, now we need to go offense, and it's in a split second. And then a little bit of football because of the contact and blocking and that kind of stuff. And then with hockey, because there's legal hits and a penalty box and that kind of thing. And
it was funny because I was never a sports person, and then after playing roller derby, I think I was watching a football game with my dad or something like that. And, you know, like, whenever I was watching football as a kid, I was always like, who's got the ball? That's who I'm watching. And I remember watching someone lay this dude out, and I was like, that was a good block.
Yeah.
And I was like, and now I, like, really watch the blockers in football. I'm like, man, that was solid.
I mean, I grew up in a little, you know, Northwest Arkansas country town, so legit, the town closed for Friday night football.
Yeah.
The grocery store's windows are all painted purple, you know, for the Ozark Hillbillies. And legit.
The Ozark Hillbillies.
Yeah,
I love it.
we were. And like, everything closed early on Friday night so that the whole town could go to the football games. So I was a big football fan, you know, of course.
Yeah.
But I didn't care about sports nearly as much as I do now that I play roller derby.
Definitely.
And now, you know, it's different.
So,
when you've got something that you're passionate about yourself.
What got you guys into it?
So, whenever I was younger, I did speed skating at the rink, and it was, like, not anything special to write home about. We were, like, there's, like, 6 of us, and we did a couple of meets, and we sucked. But it was how I learned how to skate. And there was this girl that played roller derby for one of the smaller leagues that eventually dissolved and turned into Rocktown several years later. But she did roller derby, and I always wanted to be just like her because I was like 13, and I was like, that's what I want to do one day. And then I forgot about it because we didn't have junior derby like we do now. And then I watched Whip It one time, and I was like, man, I really just want to go skating. Like, I was like, I haven't been skating in years. I really want to go. And I go, and the current president of our league, her name is Violet Streak, and she was skating, and I've always been the person, like, if I'm skating and I see another girl skating real well, I'm like, I want to go talk to her. I want to see what she's about. And I went and talked to her, and I was like, hey, like, where do you skate? She's like, well, I do roller derby. I was like, where? She's like, I do it here. And I was like, when did we get roller derby? And she was like, you should come check it out. And I was like, all right, cool. And I've been doing it ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
For me, my mama, we watched roller derby from, like, the 80s on, like, and especially in the 80s, it was very wrestling style.
Yeah.
You know, it was a show. It was a pageant that you put on. But my mom always thought it was really cool, and because I grew up with every birthday party being at a roller rink because I loved roller skating. And my mom was like, you should play roller derby. And I don't think I ever had it as a possibility because there was no roller derby around me. And then it was, I guess 10 years ago, I was at a bar in North Little Rock, and I saw some derby girls doing their after party thing. I'm pretty sure it was Grits that I probably saw because they did their after parties in North Little Rock, because they were, like, Cabot based at the time. So pretty sure it was them, and I just went up to them and I was just like, oh my god, you play roller derby. And I geeked out really big. And they're like, yeah, you should totally play. But I, like you, I just kind of went, yeah, I need to check that out. And maybe a year or two later, like, saw something, and it was actually Card that was the other. So Grits and Card are the two Central Arkansas leagues that kind of merged together to form our current league. So it was actually Card that I messaged and had some messages back and forth to come check it out. But at that time I went, man, I'm just not ready. First, I got to get in shape, right? And that's what I told myself, because I don't know if I'm ready for that, you know, as a sport. And then, so there's all these little things, and that was one of them. And then there was another, you know, that I was like, yeah, and I didn't do it. And then a few years ago, it just occurred to me that, like, man, you know, I'm in pretty good shape, and I've been skating, and like, God, not very well, but, but I was like, man, you should get online and kind of see. And it just so happened that when I thought of it again, and I went on to like look, they were having a boot camp the next week, and I was like, I didn't really give myself with just a week. I didn't really give myself much time to think about it. I just showed up, and I was like, and from that very first night, I was like, well, I'm home. This is awesome. These are my people, you know? So, it was great. And I drank the Kool-Aid and never looked back.
That's something that I feel like we're very lucky to have. We have a very positive league for the most part. I feel like Rocktown is very accepting. I feel like we don't have at least from what I've experienced, there's not a whole bunch of drama. Like, everyone really is there to build you up and make you a better player. And it's really cool to see such a diverse group of women coming together to do this sport and building each other up on and off the track throughout the whole thing. It's so cool. I love it so much.
Yeah, that definitely makes it, I would think, better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it should be about anyway, right?
Yeah,
that's what all sports.
We have a great range of ages too. I mean, because we have some lower 20s, like
I'm 22.
She's one of our younger ones. I'm one of no, I'm not. I'm actually right in the middle.
And then late 40s, I think, early 40s.
We have, if you're counting our coach Taryn, I mean, she's in her early 50s.
Oh, so, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna say
your coach doesn't play in the contact.
She played for like 10 years though.
And last year she was playing.
Yeah.
And
holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
last year she was still
playing full contact.
But
anything.
She's
a beast.
She is built. She is amazing. And I want to be like her someday.
I think that all the time. Like, especially with all the Queens team people, I'm like, man, amazing. I want to be like you.
So even age notwithstanding, and she's had some injuries notwithstanding, she actually broke the same bone that I did. So I sent her my X-rays over Messenger, and she was just like, you broke the same bone I did. I was like, twinsies. Yeah. But all that notwithstanding, she could still whoop any of our butts on the track.
Oh, yeah,
period.
Definitely.
I mean, she can block better than me, and she's not a blocker. So she still goals.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what is the average age, would you say?
My age, 35.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say just 30, early 30s to 35. That's probably your average age. We have late 40s. We have early 20s.
Which was weird for me, because when I started playing, I was like, oh my god, all these people are my age, and then everyone was like, I'm 30, and I'm like, oh my god, you are not my age.
She's so sweet because she was like, I mean, I just thought you were like, I don't remember what you said.
I thought but something all of you were like 25, and then everyone's like, I've been married for 10 years.
She told me something like that. She was like, I mean, I thought you were like 20, and I was like, I love you. I love you.
But there's some babies this year. Slam is my age.
Because twice a year we have a boot camp to bring in
fresh
meat boot camp, and we all go through it. And it's not boot camp makes it sound like it's something.
I don't know. It's pretty terrible.
It's a bit. Basically, it's practice. You're coming in and learning from the beginning.
Sure.
And but it's fresh meat boot camp because there's a start, and then they have like a little graduation for you at the end. That doesn't mean that if you haven't acquired all those skills and checked off, because we have skills tests that you have to check off on all these things before you're safe to play.
Yeah, it's called our MSTs.
Minimum skills.
Yeah, you have to be able to fall safely, get up safely, hit safely. You have to be able to skate 27 laps in 5 minutes.
Yep.
There's all these different things that you have to be able to do.
Which is a 5-minute mile. That's what that is.
It sucks. I hate it so much. I hate it.
But yeah, there's a level of skill that you have to be at before you can be safe to join a full contact sport. So
what's the speed of a 5-minute mile?
I know that usually we have to skate about 10 to 12 seconds a minute.
Per lap.
Per lap, yeah. I think it's 10 to 12 seconds per lap is what you're going for to get the 27 and 5.
And a lap is?
A lap, oh God. I don't know how long our track is. That's real bad. It's,
Go back to that diagram. Yeah. I don't know.
5-minute mile is 12 miles.
You can tell we're not the folks that actually have to lay out the track. I never have to be involved in it. So,
I mean, I guess that's like, so each of those tick marks is 10 feet out. So it'd be like,
I don't know.
Some feet.
There is an official measurement. I don't know it.
180 feet? If those are 10 feet increments?
Daisy actually has it tattooed on her body. We
that sounds about right if you actually counted it out. I stopped counting.
Go back to what you did have. 12 miles an hour is a 5-minute mile. So
for them it's a minute and 14.
That's moving. That's a lot faster than what most people can run, for sure.
Yeah, and
we do have skates, but I'm going to just call bullshit for the people that say that it's way easier on skates.
No, God,
than it is like running. To some degree, yes, you have, obviously we're rolling, so the wheels give us speed.
You get more momentum.
But you have to be sprinting. You have to work for it, and also you're also fighting. To some degree, you're fighting to stay upright on those skates. You have to hold your core tight. You have to lean into the curves.
You're pretty much squatting the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, because there's also there's posture to keep yourself going faster, and you don't want to lose speed in the turns. And
I mean, your average person in good shape can't even run a 6-minute mile. So to skate a 5-minute mile, you got to be moving.
It's pretty crazy.
Sometimes I feel really just being able to do just a little bit better than the bare minimum, because 27 and 5 is obviously the minimum. We have some who can do like 33.
The best I've ever gotten was 28 and 3/4.
Speed skater.
Yeah.
For me, the best I've ever done is like just over 28.
It's fine. You'll beat me soon. It's okay. You do it a lot more often though. Like you did
lately.
It a lot.
Definitely not since I've been broken.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Just put some wheels on the boot, call it a day, you'll be good.
Yep.
So obviously with it being full contact, hitting other people, trying to make people fall down, obviously injuries are going to be prevalent.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you said you've been injured, you're injured now.
Yep.
How often, I mean...
Oh, God.
There's almost always somebody
injured,
out with an injury. I mean, it's just...
This season, we've had a girl who's had a concussion. We've had you.
2 concussions, and then me.
Oh, that's right. We did
2 concussions, and then me with a broken ankle.
Yeah. And then I tore my meniscus last year during a practice, and then that...
And last year we had 2 fresh meet.
Oh, that they also broke their
The same
feet.
night they broke their ankles.
Yeah.
And we just called practice after the second. Like, because the first one, you get them, they're on their way to the hospital, like, let's try to resume practice and keep everybody calm.
Yeah.
And then, because it was MST's night, it was mock MST's.
It was close.
It was like it's halfway, we kind of take them, you go through like a mock assessment so that you know what to expect and so that you can kind of measure where you're at right then. So it was a mock assessment, I believe, and like the first, freshie was like broken, and then like 30 minutes later we had another one.
It was a girl crush, and then also
you're better than me because I
can't remember.
Blaze.
Yes, it was Blaze.
Oh my God. Yeah. So there's always somebody.
And then
there's always at least one person out with an injury, sometimes multiple people. So
yeah, I had a concussion like the last October, not this past one, but the one before that.
I had a concussion when I was a freshie.
Yep. We just keep coming back for some strange reason.
Jesus.
Mine was a super mild concussion. Yeah, so I didn't actually have to miss practice time because I didn't have really any symptoms or anything like that. But I did take a hard enough hit that it was like they didn't let me practice for the rest of the night, and they said,
Did you puke?
I didn't puke, actually.
I did after mine.
I actually felt completely fine. I felt completely fine, and it wasn't until I was at home that I got a little queasy, and I was like, so maybe I did have a concussion.
Yeah.
But the only symptoms I had was a little bit of queasiness when I got home, and then I had one pupil dilated more than the other.
Yeah.
So they're like, pretty sure you probably have a concussion, but I did not have any headaches. The next day I felt fine, really. I mean, I really felt fine, so I was like...
I did not feel fine.
Yeah, I've had
I did not feel fine.
And mine was not cool either.
No, I remember, because I worked at Starbucks, and we have practice till 9:30 at night. I had to open the next day.
Like 4
at 5
o'clock
a.m.
Okay.
And I was like, and I'm a shift, so I was like, man, I can't miss work. And so I go, and I mean... I was just spinning. I was like, I can't do this. And I go to the hospital. They're like, yeah, you can't go back to work for 4 days, dude.
Yeah.
It was intense.
What all did they have you do, to get over it? Just be real chill?
Yeah, they were just like, don't do anything for
Yeah.
I think I had to miss 2 weeks of practice or something like that. I didn't get an MRI done, which I probably should have done, but I don't think I could afford it at the time.
I followed up with my doctor just because Violet was just so adamant that...
Oh, yeah, you have to have a doctor's note.
Well, they didn't make me do a note because they felt like because I really seemed okay. Mm-hmm. Because afterwards I was just kind of like, no, really, I think I'm fine. I really think I'm fine. I think for mine, I really I took all of it really in my shoulders. Mm-hmm. And so my head was... It did do that little whiplash swing back a little bit, and I did make contact, but I still took most of the impact on my rear and my shoulders, so I think that's just kind of what saved me, is that I did but I did go just because Violet really wanted me to go, so I went 2 days later just to follow up, and I told him, no, I feel fine, and he asked me all the questions, and I was like, no, I think I'm cool. Probably... my brain is lower functioning or something like that, so it didn't affect me as much. I don't know.
I mean, a bruised brain is a bruised brain. I remember... I
probably bruised a part I don't use. I don't know.
I had one, the only one I've ever had, I was in my early 20s, and I always thought, growing up, concussion, okay, fine, it's a head injury, whatever, no big deal. It's like anything, if I get cut, I just let it heal, it's fine. No, whatever. Yeah. So I was at this party with a bunch of dudes that I worked with at the time. We were drinking, eating, having a good time. I left with a friend of mine. We went and watched a movie, and then I came back. And at that point, I had sobered up quite a bit. But everyone else at that point was just shithouse drunk. Mm-hmm. So I get there, and they're telling me stories of the guy who lived there at the house we were partying at. He lived on the highway, and he had stripped down, and he was streaking in front of the highway or whatever. But it was just a bunch of us dudes, so I'm just giving him a hard time. I'm like, hey, heard you like to get naked in front of a bunch of dudes. What's this about? And he just got so mad and jumped up from his chair.
Gotta be careful with drunks.
Hit me so hard and so fast, it knocked the contact out of my eye. I fell over a chair, and... I didn't even know what happened at first.
I can't imagine getting hit so hard, my contact came out of my eye. Man.
It was, I'd been in, a little nothing fights before that. Just, people wrestling on the ground and stupid shit like that in school or whatever, but he hit me so hard and so fast, I didn't want him to do it again. I knew that. So I was like, I got to get out of here. So I drove home. And as soon as I got home, I opened my car door and started throwing up everywhere. Yeah. And I was like, I feel terrible.
Because you said you went over a chair?
Yeah.
So you probably landed on your neck and head.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was terrible. So yeah, I was like, I gotta get some sleep. So I went to sleep like an idiot.
Oh God.
Well,
and then felt like shit the whole next day. It was terrible. Terrible.
But our league is really, really good about taking injury seriously.
Yeah.
We just started, it's not even been a year yet that we started our junior league. And as one of the coaches, like, we're trained for, concussion training so that we can recognize it and know what to do and the steps to follow. Yeah. We have a safety committee that there's always one of the safety members that's one or two or multiple ones, but there's always somebody that from that committee that takes point at every single practice to say, I'll be the one that if somebody gets injured, I take lead to make sure that person gets taken care of. We have protocol set and put in place, which I got to see in action just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we have like a medical bag that they're at the rink that has all basic first aid stuff, and so it's taken really seriously because it's you
get hurt a lot.
Because it is serious. So they're very, very good about. Even though, yes, we do typically have, like, one person with some sort of, like, even sometimes it's just a sprain or something like that, but we normally have somebody that has some sort of injury because it is a very physical sport.
Right.
Because even without the hitting, you're asking a lot of your body. We put a lot of pressure on our feet and our ankles and our knees. So there's just a lot that you put on your body, and there's normally somebody out with an injury, but we take it so seriously as a league.
Yeah.
So to get somebody taken care of, and in my case, sometimes it's just like a little first aid, go home, follow up with your doctor. In my case, it's don't move until the EMTs arrive.
Right. Right. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
It's intense, man.
Yeah, definitely. But I love it.
Yeah.
It keeps us coming back.
I mean, yeah.
We keep going back.
Yeah. It really taught me like how much I love Derby, because we had a rough end of our season, and we've lost people, some people I'm close with and stuff like that. So it's just been kind of a turmoil kind of internally for me of just like, man, God, I don't know if this takes up because it is time consuming, and and I think everybody hits that point. Everybody has. For me, it's been kind of like the past 3-4 months or so, like coming back into this season from the end of last season, where you just kind of feel like, am I good enough to keep going? Is there am I really contributing? And do they really want me here? I mean, you have, I don't know, maybe it's just me. But I think everybody has like where they start questioning, like, is this really where I need to be putting all of my time? Especially because I like had family stuff going on, and work gets crazy. And so I'm like, so I really had off and on kind of been like, I don't know. But when I broke my ankle turned sideways, and they're holding my leg, and we're waiting for the EMTs, and all I can think about is, fuck, like, no, like, we just had our first game, and I played so well, like, no, and the thing I was most upset about is what this was going to mean for me for skating and Derby and my skill level, that I'm going to be missing it. So that kind of really reaffirmed that, no, yeah, I'm definitely not done with it.
That was how it was for me after my injury, because it was like 3 days after my first game I ever got to play. And then I tore my meniscus. And I was like,
Jesus,
what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah, we had just had our first game in Northwest Arkansas, first game of the season, I should say, and it was an away game in Northwest Arkansas. And we played really, really well. I don't know that... we actually had to play kind of a mixed game because we were short on players because we had concussions, things like that. So we actually played with some of our A-team players. They kind of stepped down and played with us, and then we actually borrowed a couple of players from the other league.
We got to play with 2 male players from the other team for the first time.
And
really
so
cool.
we won, and I think the score was kind of inflated probably because we had
let's not even say it. No, let's just take it. Let's just take our win.
Honestly, it was really good. No matter what, even if you don't take the score into account, that was so the best well played derby that I think since I've been with the Brawlers
we've really
played.
Well.
And me personally, it was my best game I have played to date, where I've cried, on the bench before because I'm just like, what are you doing?
Box.
What are you doing out there? Like, and it didn't feel like that ever. I felt like I pretty much stayed calm and played my best game I've ever played.
I think the final score was like 243 to 111.
Something like that.
So we did really well.
But then 2 days later, I break my ankle. And because I went into practice Monday night, and I was like, yeah, stoked. Because and also for me, the score didn't even matter. The fact is that we played so well together, and then as individuals I felt really well. So I went into practice, the next practice just really stoked and just ready to go and really excited. And then like in warm-ups, crack, break my ankle. And Araya wasn't there for my ankle break. So then I was really bummed. And honestly, it's really, really bad. But when Derby got canceled because of all this world craziness, I was kind of like, well, man, at least I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest parts.
It's a very selfish way to look at it, but there's a little bit of a relief of like, well, at least I'm not missing out.
That was one of the hardest things for me is like, I think I watched.
Because we were playing and you...
Yeah, I missed like 2 different games. And I remember I couldn't even go to practice. Like I just like...
Yeah.
Too upset. I was like, I can't go do this mentally, and it sucks being taken away from your sport.
Couldn't go because of everything going on.
Oh no, this was because I got hurt last year in 2019. I just couldn't go.
She tore her meniscus, right?
Go. Yeah, I tore my meniscus, so I was out for like most of the season.
I gotcha.
And I just mentally like couldn't be there for my team because I was just so upset.
It's hard to stand on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I did before everything got kind of shut down. My initial upset ended, and I was like, well. So as soon as I had surgery, I was messaging our team captains and said, I would really like to help with lines on the sidelines. Like, I want to be there because to just not be right there with my team would make me feel really bad. So I was like, but you have to deal with it your own way. Another player that had played, Tuesday, she had had her hip messed up, and some people can't actually come back because they have an injury that is not going to allow them to.
Sure.
And for her, she used to help with like the training of fresh meat and stuff like that. She was actually one of my fresh meat trainers, and when they told her no, and she knew she's just not gonna play again. For her, she really had to step back from derby and focus on her other passions, because to be on the sidelines was just not going to work for her.
That was something that Gritty told me, though, and it really stuck with me after my injury, because until then, I really hadn't had a major injury that took me out of my life, where I couldn't do things the normal way. And she said, she was just like, you never know the last time you're going to step onto that track. And so it's really kind of humbled me in a way and made me really appreciate every single time I step onto that track. Yeah. Because I don't know how many more times I'm going to get to.
As you can tell, we really love what we do out there.
Sure. You should if you're going to do it, right?
Yeah. If you're going to spend as much money and blood, sweat, and tears, you might as well like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because as a league, we are nonprofit, and
we definitely don't get paid.
We don't get paid.
Right.
And the rink space to rent it for practices and for games, like, we have to come up with that money. So we have some awesome sponsors, and this year we've just had even more sponsors than previous years. That we've just really worked hard at getting partnerships and sponsors to help us with stuff, which helps us from it all coming out of our own pockets to be able to do this.
Right.
Because there might be some rich Rocktown ladies, but I'm not one of them.
Me.
I'm not one of them.
It ain't me.
So, and when you have like skates that range from $400 to $600 or more.
Mine were cheap and they were like $290.
So my set was like with the wheels and everything was like a $450
I didn't even put my
set.
wheels into that.
Yeah.
Wheels are like $80.
And I don't have the fanciest skates. I don't have the fanciest plate on them. I don't have the fanciest wheels because at some point it's my skill level is intermediate, I would say. I'm not an advanced player, so there would be no point in me spending even, because it's not going to make me, at some point you're just wasting money on better skates that I wouldn't necessarily know how to utilize. So one day though, I will be such a badass player that I'll need the best equipment.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll need a sponsor, but
I'm going to start roller derby camming so that I can get more money for skates. And
There's the move.
You know what? I mean, I'm sure I'll get some kind of views from it. Just be like, roller derby cam girl. They're like, you know what? Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Make a niche market right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the pinup kind of look.
I get the knee-high socks, wear all of my padding and my helmet. It'll be fine.
See,
so
we have some that are very
guard.
glam because you have a persona, of course, and some people are just straight sports. They don't, like, some players don't go out with makeup or anything like that. They're straight sports. But then there's some of us that still, go out with like a persona or something like that.
Which is traditional, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that
And some players have gone away from it as they want to be more legitimized as a mainstream sport.
Playing in fishnets, it's not practical because you fall and you get like this road rash in this like scaly shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't fun.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And if you're wearing hot pants, it doesn't actually protect you when you go sliding on a wooden floor or concrete.
I think it was one of my biggest disappointments in roller derby because I was like, I'm gonna wear fishnets, I'm gonna wear my shorts, and I was like, oh my god, my legs are gonna chafe. I can't do this.
Yeah, but so some of them do kind of, and I think Araya kind of does normally like a more glam.
I do weird makeup. I love doing weird makeup for bouts.
And some use a lot of glitter.
Do you not just sweat that shit off?
I do. I actually, it's funny because like I take pictures before and after the game, and I always look really cool beforehand, like with my warrior makeup. And then,
you
like,
still look good afterwards. Most of us would use like one of this more of the permanent makeups and stuff like that, so that it lasts a little bit longer.
You're speaking foreign to me, man.
Yeah. So the last game of last season, I didn't do it for our opener because it was an away game and I wasn't really worried about it. We normally do more for home games, I guess. But our last game of the last season, I did because I'm Pound Puppy, so I did the little puppy nose, and I did a little bit of that. Mm-hmm.
So when you do something like that, your persona, do you come up with that? Do you let the other girls come up with that? What's
so derby names?
It's a very personal thing for me.
So derby names, you pick your own derby name.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to pick a derby name until you've been through like a fresh meat program, and
you get to announce it at the end. It's
That's
a
right.
really cool moment.
Yeah.
It's like it's usually at your graduation party or like the end of the year Christmas party, and they have all the fresh meat that are graduating come up, and whether or not they pass their skills test, they get to announce their derby
because they've
name.
been through fresh meat, so they've at least been through all of the training, no matter where they are personally with
they know
individual
how to do
skills.
it.
Right?
Yeah. And so it's a very, very special moment when you get to announce it.
So you pick your derby name, but your what they're going to call you, the league picks, your friends pick, because like I'm Pound Puppy, but they call me Pup.
And I'm Project Malice, but they call me Malice.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And normally your derby name is it's special to you. Like for me, I was born in 1984, and Pound Puppies came out in 1984, and I kind of feel like
I never knew that.
And I feel like Derby is kind of a band of unwanted
weirdos,
strays, right? We are kind of a pound of mutts, and that's appropriate. Plus, I mean, Pound Puppy, because I can take a pounding, right?
There's lots of puns as well. Like
I've noticed that.
There was one girl, her name was Kim Kardashian.
Yep,
when we went to Northwest Arkansas.
I like some of ours on our league. I love
Teacher a Lesson.
Teacher a Lesson.
Nice.
And then there's this one
I've always
woman.
loved that one.
Her name is her last name is Som, but her derby name is Gitchasom.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's cool little stuff like that. Leviosa.
Yeah. And we just have some. I think our league has some good derby names, and
it also has just a very diverse kind of group of women. Like, there's no certain body type you have to have. We have a trans woman that's in our fresh meat program. You know, you're not limited by your gender or, you know, whether you're fit or you're not, or you're tall or you're short. Like, there is a place for you in our league. Right. Even if it's not maybe on skates, there is a place for you.
We actually had Teach's husband, Adrian, went through my fresh meat with me. He was one of my fresh meat buddies, and he's a ref now. So even though we don't have a men's league yet. Or a men's team yet, if a guy wants to come and practice with us and go through fresh meat and ref or NSO, because the refs have to go through minimum skills, they have their own things that they have to check off on.
Honestly, I think that reffing is probably harder than playing, in my opinion, because of everything you have to
know. And I don't know. They actually have to skate faster, just a shorter amount of time. I forget what I don't remember the actual requirement. But it actually is, they actually have to do a shorter distance, but faster than we have to go. Because they're on the inside and they have to keep up with us. Mm-hmm. And also because the pack kind of moves like this. So they have to bounce back and forth and to look from different angles.
Yeah, if they're on the inside, there's a lot to watch then, right?
Yeah.
Because you could get split on completely different ends of the track.
Yeah. You can have like a distance between you of up to 30 feet. No, wait. Yeah. It's 30 feet, right? No, it's 10 feet, but until you have to bridge. But you can keep bridging until 30 feet. Technically.
I mean, dude, I'm not the one on the track in charge of focusing on that.
But yeah, it's a lot to try to keep up with.
Yeah.
You can bridge it all the way out till your last player.
What's a bridge?
The pack is maintained with it. The pack is made up of 4 of one team and then 1. So the pack is made up of it has to be 5 players.
Okay.
Because all 8 blockers are the pack, but the majority is what makes the pack.
Okay.
So if
interesting. So they can't get too far from each other.
No, right. If you go more than 10 feet, they call no pack, and if you don't fix it, you go to the penalty box.
So when they call no pack, the
whole pack?
No.
So
or whoever's not in the pack.
They'll normally call the person who didn't reform immediately.
Yeah. So let's say we have
the slowest person or the person that just stood there going, "What?"
Yeah.
Then that person would probably get called for a penalty. Or if they felt like the whole team just didn't freaking listen to the call, then normally the captain gets the penalty.
Which this usually happens with, you have your one team's blockers here, you have your other team's blockers, and just due to different pacing, things get spread apart. Sure. And once it gets spread to 10 feet, that's when there's no longer a pack. So if you're in the back and they call a no pack, you have to go forward.
If you know that you're getting to 7-8 feet and you have the forethought to be paying attention, which sometimes I'm so concentrating on the chick that's on my back that I'm not. So sometimes it takes one of my teammates to go, pup, drop, or bridge. And so then that lets me know that, they want me to drop off. I'm not blocking her anymore and I'm bridging. Because if I step back, then there's less than 10 feet between me and the back of the pack, and there's less than 10 feet between me and the front of the pack. So I'm holding it together so that it can be more spread out so that we can keep holding.
Gotcha.
It's a timing thing because if you wait too long, they're going to call no pack before you drop a bridge. And when they call no pack, the group in the front have to quit blocking. They don't go back, but they can't actively block. They can still stand in front of the jammer, which is something we forget about. That you can still, it's more like you can't. Yeah, it's actively blocking.
Holy shit!
So, but the ones in the back have to rush up. So if you're in the back, you have to make an active effort to remake that pack.
It's super physical, and you have to be listening to communicate.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, because you've got a bench coach, you've got a third base coach, which is the third turn of the track normally during a game, and there's also like 7 refs when you've got a full ref pack. So most of the time you have, and I know on higher levels I think they may even have 3 outside refs that skate on the outside. Most of the time, if we're lucky, we have 2, sometimes 1, but because you want to be able to have normally if you have, like, say if you had 2 refs on the outside, one's going to be skating a little bit ahead, looking back like this, watching what's happening from this angle, and then you have someone kind of behind looking for the action so that they can see, because you've got this group of people with limbs flailing and very all on top of each other, so looking for those penalties takes different angles.
Sure.
So then you also have a jam ref for each jammer that their focus really is on the jammer. They can call penalties. Well, they can call penalties too, but they stay with the jammer. They skate around the inside of the track with the jammer when the jammer goes around. So yes, they're the ones that are calling the points and holding them up for the scorekeepers. And they call lead jammer. They also are, start the signal and start the call off if the jammer calls off. They can also call penalties. Now they might not see as many penalties unless it's a penalty involving their jammer.
Right.
And then you have a head ref, and then you normally have a pack definition ref who's just there to say no pack and to be watching the the distance and all that. So
interesting.
Yeah.
There's lots of I was surprised by how many refs it really takes.
And it can be overwhelming trying to listen for the refs because they don't call your name, obviously. They'll be like
your number and your color.
Like black 3-3 or white 3-3, and you're just like, oh God, I gotta go.
Right. We're not always the same color, obviously, home or away and stuff like that. So so far, I don't think I've failed to hear when they've called me.
I have. I did it in the last game.
I'm almost always. I actually haven't gotten a ton of penalties ever in a game, but
I don't want to talk about. I think I had 5 penalties last game. We don't have to talk about it though.
You can foul out of a game. Araya was very close.
I got really close. If you get 7 penalties, you're out.
7, you're out.
6?
No, it's 7.
Okay.
7, you foul out.
Okay.
And then once that happens, you can't even go back to your bench.
I don't think I've gotten more than 2 penalties in a game, so I've never really worried about getting to the max. So.
Yeah. I got my last penalty in the last 30 seconds of the game, and I was like, well, I didn't foul out. That's all that matters. But yeah, if you foul out of the game, you have to go de-gear, and then you can't even go back to your benches. You're out.
You have to be
done.
In the audience at that point, or or in the locker room. You can't be on the track or.
So you have 5 ladies on the track at a time. Mm-hmm. How many is on the full team?
So I think it's up to 15. We can have up to 15 people on our team on a roster.
So so your team can have 20 people or however many, but
only 15 can
for
play
a game.
In the
you
game.
can only roster 15 players.
And so you swap out in 3 groups normally, I'm guessing then.
Well, it just kind of depends. Like different people have different strengths. Right now the brawlers don't have as many jammers really because like Araya splits it up. She's doing jamming and blocking. I think that in the future she's probably going to be more of a jammer because she just thinks that way, and because she's fast. So I think that in the future she probably when we get going again.
It's that dang endurance.
Yes,
it's that dang endurance against me.
Well. And I have actually done pretty good with endurance. I can typically keep on pushing, but just can't get through anybody. I blame that on my height because I just get stuck behind everybody's butts. And I feel
you.
I just
I'm
feel
not
like
tall either. I get it.
feel like a butt's like.
I played football before. I get it.
Like an Amazonian warrior.
I say that, but we do have some shorties that actually can get through. So there's also just I don't have the footwork that Araya does, like fancy feet. Because I can push, but the thing is, I could push for 2 minutes. But the object of the game is not just to drive them like cattle.
Right.
Okay, so I can get behind them and dig in with my strong legs and just push them. But every once in a while, when I do jam, they yell from the sidelines. I can hear my bench coach going, push them to a side, because you have to do something. If you're just pushing them forward, you're not moving them out of your way.
Right.
So that's what Araya was saying earlier about pushing them at like a 45-degree angle. That's the object is push them to the side, so to open a lane up for yourself, so that if you've got fancy footwork, you can tiptoe and get around them.
I've gotten in some weird falls, though.
Yeah.
I think in the last scrimmage I did the splits almost, because I just felt weird doing footwork I shouldn't have been doing.
I've had some crazy falls too, but the other thing is that if you can push them and push them in one direction, then you can maybe get help from your other blockers, your teammates, and they can come and like crush them to the side and then open up a lane for you. So there are. And I get stuck with just the blocker mentality of I don't think of that. I get really like solid and like one with the ground, because all I'm thinking about is sitting down and being low, and I kind of forget that I can be light on my feet and move. Forget about that sometimes. Which I did have to jam a couple times in our last game, and it wasn't awful. I got lead jammer once, and the second time I didn't get lead jammer, but they had me be a blocker until Araya starts yelling at me. Because there's different strategies, of course. In this case, we had lost a couple of our blockers to the penalty box. And so I don't even know what turn, like how many times the other jammer had gone around, but we're coming into turn 3, and my turn 3 coach Daisy hollers at me, "Pup, block, be a blocker," because they only had 2 blockers at that point, and we needed to stop that other jammer. So I immediately just went on what I know. Oh, this I've got. Defense. So I was just blocking the shit out of her. And we come around the turn, and I get past the other blockers, but instead of turning and running, because then you're supposed to switch back, and now you're a jammer and just take off. And I'd gotten past them. But I turned around and I chest blocked her, and I was holding her. I'm like, I got her. And Araya's like, "Pup, go." Because you were
I forgot about that. Yeah, because you were jamming, but you forget.
But they told me to block, and I was just like, "Dude, got it. I'm gonna block."
I guess that is something we didn't include. So we have what is called jammer panties, which I think they're trying to change that name, but I can't remember what it is. Helmet cover.
Yeah, helmet cover.
And it has a big star on it. So that's how you know who the jammer is.
Okay.
And you often can forget that you have that on your head because you can't see it, especially if you're not normally a jammer. But that's how you tell.
The thing is, I didn't even forget that I was the jammer. I just didn't. It just didn't dawn on me that I should automatically have gone back to jamming. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, when my coach told me block, I was like, okay, I'm going to be a blocker. And I guess I was waiting for somebody to tell me to not block anymore, which you did. It was my sometimes it's your teammates that tell you what you're supposed to do now.
Sure.
But somebody who jams all the time would have known when that moment was to switch back and just take off. And I need a little help to know when that moment was.
I think in our last scrimmage I was jamming, and I'm so used to blocking, I forgot that I can call off the jam when I'm lead. Yeah. And they were just like, "Call, Malice, call." And I was like, I could do that. And I was like,
and that's the thing is you have to, there's so much going on the track, and you have to hear the refs. You have to hear your bench coach, your third base coach, like
everyone on the track,
and your teammates, because there's a lot of cooperation. We're holding on to each other, racing against each other, moving together, and so you have to be able to hear and listen to a lot of input
while you're basically sprinting and pushing and pulling and that's a lot. It's crazy. It's a lot going on.
Yeah. It can be stressful out there. But that's something that we really work on in practice is like, hey, let's calm it down. Because if we can calm it down, and a lot of times it means having somebody on that line who, so sometimes for me it's Wes, that is one of those just calm people that can communicate, that they communicate in a tone, even out there, even in a nice volume, their tone is still not stressed.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite drills that we do at practice is we'll be blocking. Like, they'll set us up in groups of 4 and we'll be blocking. And we have to talk about, like, our day, our family, our hobbies, what colors we like, what animals we like.
We have to have like a regular conversation
while we're actively blocking.
That's smart.
In
That's
a very
real smart.
calm voice.
Yeah.
Because it makes you have to think about what you're going to say. It makes you work on communication, but you've still got somebody pushing on you.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
That seems like that would be a really good drill in general for
Ping-Pong is my favorite.
That's where I got hurt.
I mean, I hate it, but I love it. So Ping-Pong is a drill that it's an endurance drill, and it's an endurance drill for blockers, and I hate it, and but it's still my favorite. I don't know. So with the Ping-Pong, you have your 4 blockers, and they line up at one end, normally in that 30 feet, those 2 lines in that 30 feet stretch. And we line up on one side, and there's normally 4 jammers, 2 at each end, ready to just go against us. So they blow the whistle, and one jammer jumps in, and we block her and try to stay in front of her, and she has to push us all the way to the other line. When she pushes us to that other line, instantly the whistle's going to blow, and another jammer, fresh jammer, is going to jump in and push us, and we have to flip around and block all the way back.
Yeah.
And we normally do that. We cycle through those 4 jammers, so you block 4 jammers continuously for
like
30
120
feet.
feet.
Yeah, nice.
And it's hard, but it also and I think normally when they say we're going to do ping pong, everybody goes. And there's a little bit of me that does that too, but then the rest of me is like, yes, because I don't know, I feel like it helps me, and it sucks, but it's supposed to suck, so.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you're going up against fresh people constantly.
Yep. And you're not, and you have no break. Yeah. But it really prepares you for a really high paced game. So.
I mean, yeah, that's how you sharpen your skills.
Yep.
You do shit that you're not gonna do.
So they say that it's having tools in your tool belt. Like, you might not ever use this in this specific scenario, but you got it.
Yeah.
You can do it if you need to.
Yeah. It's important.
Yeah.
It's important.
Definitely.
It's not gonna do anything but make you better.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, on the penalty side, so you've got each team has 5 girls out there, 1 jammer, 4 blockers.
Mm-hmm.
Say somebody gets a penalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
They go to the penalty box.
Yep.
Yes.
First question, how long is that normally for?
30 seconds.
It's just a
30 seconds of play.
Yeah.
Does that, so that leaves the team short. It's not a sub in.
Nope.
Like hockey. Basically,
No.
you're just a guy down.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was one time in our last game of the season last year that we had, I think, 3 people in the penalty box, and I went out to start a jam by myself.
Well, I've actually been
okay.
that person who got left out there while my other 3 blockers went to the penalty box. And
So you look around and you're like, it's just me, okay?
So when there's a penalty, does that restart the jam?
No, but a penalty can go into the next
But
jam.
between, so like the penalty that 30 seconds is of jam time clock of the game clock. So if the clock stops, then your time stops. So if you serve 15 seconds in your jam that you went out on, you have to start the next jam in the penalty box and serve out the rest the rest of your other 15 seconds.
So how does that affect the opposite team's scoring if you're in the penalty box?
They get your point automatically.
If they pass your other players, if they pass another player, they get your point too.
Yeah.
So if they get 1 point, essentially they get 2 if somebody's in the penalty.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Because every time they come around and pass them, they get their point.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, so it really sucks.
Yeah, especially if you've got multiple people in penalties.
So last season when I was that last blocker out there, and I think that our jammer as well. Yeah, our jammer was in the penalty box too. So we had 3 blockers in our jammer. I was the only one for our team out there, I believe, and. So the jammer comes around. Obviously, I'm not going to block the other jammer when they have 4 blockers there to give offense for her.
So what do you do? Just try to skate as fast as you can? Just to...
So that's what my friend Gritty did at a game, one away game last season when it happened to her, because she knew that they were all going to come for her. She was in the exact same scenario.
Sure.
And she knew at this point all those blockers are going to come for her because they're giving O to the, and she's like, I'm not even going to try after for your jammer. I'm just going. Like, look, no.
Outrun the jammer, right?
Because she just didn't want to get nailed. For me, I just stood my ground because the jammer's coming up and here come the blockers in front of her, and I just stood my ground and planted and threw my shoulder at them, and I at least felt like I was going to make them bounce or off me a little bit, so I was like, boom, 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 and it was just boom, 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 boom,
I was able to have a really good moment whenever it happened to me because it was off the line, so I had time to think about it. And one of the offensive things that we focus on, because as well as you're doing defense, you have to think about offenses and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, so you have your blockers, and you usually have a couple people that have like their back to the jammer. You have one person that's called the brace, and they're facing the jammer, and they have their arms up, and people are bracing themselves on you. So
you're skating backwards in front of the other blockers, and you're giving strong shoulder and strong arms,
because that's the only way you can hold a jammer that is pushing on you. You have to have that. But so I remember I was like alone on the line from the start of the jam, and one of the things that we've learned is you take your shoulder and you drive it into someone's rib cage, and it's called murder, but it's very effective. And I was able to do that to the other team's their brace off the line and take them out.
Yeah, I mean, that's when being short is beneficial, because I have a better shot of getting my shoulder just right up in someone's side.
I get murdered a lot. I hate it.
Murder's a good name for that. That sounds like it sucks.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
Like if you get hit, like they always tell you about it.
We have some fun names for lots of things, and some of the names all come from like different trainers and different leagues and stuff like that. People come up with their own names for different moves, strategies. One of the things that, because we're a bunch of silly girls and right, so we giggle about stuff. But there's a jammer technique for getting through that's called dick arms.
Oh yeah.
And then there's like baby doll, arms, and like all these different, and there's also we have a strategy called the tit dip.
I don't know that one off the top of my head.
It's like a chest to chest blocking. You can't stay that way forever with just this back and forth. So the idea is that when you get stuck in that position, and at some point someone's just going to juke and slide off. So the idea is that you slide down their body, and you get that shoulder underneath their breasts, and then you, bam, and you pop them up and back. And the idea is that you get them off you, and you can either, if you're a blocker, flip around and give them your back and sit on them. Or if you were the jammer and did something like that you've knocked them out of your way and you can take off. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah.
So how many... Actually, before I go into this, I'm going to run and pee real quick because I got to pee real bad.
That's okay.
Is there somewhere where there's a list of, like, teams in the league?
WIFTA's website. So
you help her find that while I go pee, and then I'm going to be back. I still got more questions. Many more questions.
Is it WIFTA.com?
I think it's WIFTA.org.
How is this spelled, actually?
It's FWF.
Wait. What?
Sorry, that is my bad.
WFT.
WFT?
And DA. Yeah.
WIFTA. Yeah, that's it.
And then
boom.
I think leagues.
Should it be actually under leagues? Yeah, I probably should have clicked that.
That's fine.
Here we go.
And I think we're like 120 or something like that. At least the Queens team. Our team is not ranked. We are the B team. We are the Breakneck Brawlers. Yep. We are not
Queens.
We're not ranking.
So these teams are like ranked by like best to least best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like our A team, the Queens of the Rink, they are like 120 something. The ranking system and how you go up and down is really weird, and I don't understand it.
There are, and I don't know all of it, but there are different things that go into it, like the margin that you won by, that matters. So like if you beat a higher ranking team, but not by very much, but you beat them and they were like really high ranked, you could still jump up quite a bit, more than if you killed a team that was way crappier than you on the rankings. Mm-hmm. Like, that sounds mean to say crappier, but you know what I mean? Like, it's like it means more because you beat a better team.
Yeah.
So sometimes that can actually, I believe, make you jump higher than just, that's why you want to play at a competitive level. You need to be playing teams that are your same, skill level, yeah. Right? Same skill level, or that their ranking is somewhere that can actually, give you a boost. So, because it would be really easy to just be like, well, we're going to play all these teams that are way worse than us, and we're going to murder them. Well, that's not really going to move you up the rankings. You have to play teams that are, competitively ranked with you to actually move up pretty well. So,
how do they figure that out?
Beats me. Beats me. I have no clue.
I know how you move on the rankings, but I don't know, like...
well, I also know, like, you can lose to better teams and still go up in rank. It's weird. Yeah. I don't get it.
Right. Because if you didn't lose by very much, that's the thing, is that if you didn't... it reminds me a little bit of, like, soccer, because you can actually tie at an away game in soccer, and it's not as bad as, like, losing at home. Because the deal is that in tournaments, it actually is like you get like half a point for it or something like that. Because if you scored on them and you tied in their home, then that actually, you get the point. Even though it's a tie, it's kind of like it's a semi-win that goes to you because you scored in their home. Then if you lost at home, then that's like bad. And you get to see all these awesome logos. That's one of the coolest things to me about Derby is just like you either have somebody do it for you, or normally I think that there's like a really artistic member of your league that can like do your logo. We have Violet, who
and this is
an artist.
The world.
Yeah, so. It said 6 continents, so and 455 teams is what it said. So
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I mean, then some of the logos suck. Let's just be honest.
I love collecting stickers and patches from other teams, though. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Some of them are really artistic, and some of them use, like, the classic, like, Derby girl kind of, image. And some get away from that. And like I said, some of them are just kind of dull, but that's probably because they didn't have a really cool artist on their team, I guess.
So how many games are in a season? And
it varies.
We tend to have like 6 or 7
with mixed home games and away games. But
what kind of time frame are we talking here?
Like once a month.
Yeah, normally like a game a month.
If things had stayed the way it was going to, we were going to play a game in April, May. We were going to have a tournament in June. We were off for July. And then August, September, October.
Yeah.
So is the season like a year then?
No.
We normally take a month off and we've done it a few different ways over the last couple of years to try to see what works best for us. So, like, when the year before last, when we tried to play all the way through from January until November or until October, and then we just took November back off, and then December we kind of came back. So that was December through October, and that's just a really long time. So last year they tried to split it up a little bit differently for us, and they said, look, we're going to take a midsummer break in July, no practices, and then we'll take a month at the end to give everybody, to split it up so that it's kind of like 5 months and 5 months instead of just 10 or 11 long months.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we all love it. And if I'm not practicing and not broken, then I'm skating just because I love it.
But we do practice twice a week. So especially on top of work and everything.
So even if you love it, it
tiring.
Can get time consuming. It's a commitment. And for me, as a junior derby coach, that means extra time. And then I also teach, and Araya teaches Learn to Skate, which is actually a program that the Arkansas Stadium does just for the public. You know, they offer skating lessons. And our league, Rocktown, actually, we volunteer as the Learn to Skate coaches. And in exchange, we work that out to help us offset our rental fees for the space.
Yeah.
And it helps the rink out because then they're not having to pay coaches to teach these classes. So it's just a partnership that we have with the stadium that we appreciate.
Which also helps, I'm sure, get skaters interested in Derby as well. It's a win-win.
We actually have a few of our junior Derby players that started in Learn to Skate, and when we said, hey, we're going to start up juniors, they were ecstatic.
So what is junior Derby?
So junior Derby is for minors. So from 8 years old is when you can start to 17. Obviously, you're not going to play an 8-year-old against a 17-year-old.
I was about to say, you got teenagers bashing little kids' heads.
What you would normally do is, like, you kind of group them together with, like, your 8 to 12-year-olds and then, like, 13 to 17-year-olds as far as playing against each other. And our juniors team does have some littles and some bigs. And so we have what we'll hope to have, which when Derby starts back up, we were going to have them have their first mashup game at our season opener home game. And we'll see how, when they get to have their debut. We're going to be excited for it. But so what we would hope to have is, at this point, when we're still getting that team and the juniors program going, still bringing in new players and they're learning, they're all brand new, is to partner with like another juniors team, have them mix up mashup style, which we just throw them all together and make up some teams and then have them play against each other. And in that case, because we know we're going to have some 15-year-olds and some 9-year-olds, say, we would have a line go out, because you know how we rotate lines in and out. So we would have littles go against littles, and then the next line would have bigs go against bigs.
Sure.
So that it stays safe. And also skill level is also a factor in that, because just because a kid is 15 years old doesn't mean that, he or she is has the skill level to play against. I mean, we have some younger kids that can skate
Violet's
circles around me.
Kid.
Can seriously give me a run for my money on as far as speed. And my legs are much longer.
Honestly, I think that's something that carries into our own league, is that you can get a penalty for egregious hits. Like, they often tell you, like, hey, don't be an asshole. So, like, if you're really good and you're going to take someone out egregiously that is obviously not of your skill level, it's like you're just being a dick at that point.
Sure.
So I feel like that's something that carries on through juniors and through
right.
ours.
We really just in the last few weeks started working with trying to gear up for their first, game. We really started working on contact and gameplay. Because we spent many months we just spent on skating skills and footwork and that kind of thing, because that is the foundation. And we really amped that up into like contact. And it's so much fun to start teaching them hits and things like that, because they're tentative about it at first. They're all willing to try and they're excited.
Well, yeah.
But they're also like just a little it's a little bump, And one of our other coaches, Swerve, her daughter plays with us, and she's 14 or 15. I'm sorry, Phoenix, if I got it wrong. Anyway, so I knew, because her mom is right there. I was like, I can hit her. So I was like, I'm going to really hit you, okay? I'm going to hit you out. And she's like a foot taller than me too, I should mention. so I just gave her a good knock, and at first she kind of stumbles back. She's like, but I think it kind of excited her, because she was like, we're gonna do this, you know?
Yeah.
Because they go into it so slowly that when they really started realizing like we can really push and really hit and really try to get physical, it's exciting, and it's exciting to do it with them. So
how long have you guys been doing that? The
juniors?
junior league?
Since July.
Yeah, so it's not even been a year.
Nice.
And we had some learn to skate kids that were interested in it, and we had some of our league members' children that were interested in it.
And it is so stinking cute.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, they're so cute.
It is. Especially the littles, they're really adorable.
Like, I'll watch them get into a little line with their brace, and I'm like, you go, little kids.
And a couple of them look a little bit like a giraffe in roller skates. They're they have that gangly, awkward thing going on, and it's
they're so cute.
That's mostly what I'm picturing, because I remember me at like 6, 7, 8, 12 trying to skate.
Don't be fooled, though. Some of these kids have skills.
Like Daze's kid.
And some of them work really hard at it. We have one who started and learned to skate, wanted to do juniors with us, and she has stayed in our Learn to Skate program and is now an advanced skater.
You know what made me really mad? She wanted to race me, and
she
I
beat
told
you?
her, yeah, she beat me.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
But she started with not really knowing how to skate, or at least not in any like skill level, and started it as a beginner skater and intermediate, advanced, and junior derby, and she still comes to Learn to Skate.
She's awesome
every week, and juniors, because she's that dedicated to and stubborn to like push herself and get better, and they all work really, really hard. She just happens to be able to come and still continue that Learn to Skate to have that extra time. But it's so amazing. They all really want it really, really hard. And most of the time, they'll all just really work really hard for us. So, which you don't always get with kids. So it's really kind of cool. They're doing something they really want to do. And we don't have to like twist their arms. So, not that we would.
We'll think about it. Please.
No, we don't. We're nice to them, I swear. But so it's really kind of, most of the time we have, every once in a while when we're spending a little too much time talking as coaches, some of the littles get a little like restless and have a hard time sitting still which I do too. So
like any kid.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes we have to be like, hey, focus. But we also have to do that with the adults.
Yeah.
So
we're just as bad.
So really,
Yeah.
But yeah, so our junior program we're still getting in, like, for a little bit. It would seem like almost every week we'd get like a new player come to start.
Which I think that's also something important to mention is not only just with juniors, but with us, we have our fresh meat program, but if there's ever a person that wants to do it, we will make time to get you some kind of like
training.
Like I came in a month before the fresh meat program that I started, and they were like, well, you can go ahead and start on your laps. And it was like me and Daze and Swerve, and we were just awkwardly waiting.
And Squirrel, my derby wife. My derby wife. So there's like a handful of them that came in at the tail end after. They came in like right after I had gone through my MST's testing. And right when I started scrimmaging, we had this group of like 4 or 5 of them that came and pissed me the hell off because speed skater over here, I was like, I busted my ass for 6 months to get to where I could scrimmage and play, and skate well enough to actually play. And she's just like, zoom, 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 got it. Check, 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 check.
Hey, but I can't.
Done.
I can't control it. That's where I'm working now, is trying to get it controlled.
So if somebody's interested in derby or in the junior program, how do you get involved in something like that?
Show up, or first message like on Instagram or Facebook, or just show up at the stadium, because even if you when there is a stadium,
right?
Because right now everything's closed. But honestly, truly just showing up like I did. I hadn't talked to a single person in a while before I finally just was like, oh, I saw the boot camp start next week. I just showed up. Yeah. So you can always just show up.
If you go to our Rocktown page, it'll tell it like you can message them. You can also
that's us.
That's us.
Yeah.
You can always ask anyone there. Like I said, we have practices Mondays and Wednesdays. Our practices Mondays are 7:30 to 9:30. Our practices Wednesdays are, I think, 6:30 to 9:30 ish.
Yep.
And you can come at those times and just be like, hey, I'm really interested, and they will talk you through it.
You can message on Facebook or Instagram, Rocktown Roller Derby, and the folks that are in charge of those accounts will, the admins will obviously give you all the information that you need to come check it out.
Yeah.
There's also, during normal times, there's one of us or multiple of us that are just at open skate for funsies. And you can normally recognize us because we are the ones with knee pads on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you've ever gone down on your knees and taken all the skin off, skating really fast and doing some of the maneuvers we do, you learn really quickly to never skate without some sort of knee protection. So normally the ones that have some sort of gear on are normally the derby girls. So if we get back to normal and you are interested, then you can always just come out to the stadium on an open skate night, find the chicks with gear skating around or a Rocktown t-shirt, and come up to us and ask us all kinds of questions, and we'll skate with you and answer them.
Also, honestly, you could message me on Facebook. My name is Araya Harrison. You want to learn about
Don't
derby?
message me though.
I don't care.
I'm not really one of the spokesperson people. This is a rare appearance for me because I don't do this kind of stuff, so it makes me uncomfortable.
I don't care.
I'm pretending there's not camera. I've been pretending this entire time that I'm not on camera because I don't like it. But
that's good. That's usually my goal. Like, tell people
yeah,
all
no,
the
it's
time.
been really
like,
comfortable. It's been nice.
Yeah, just pretend we're hanging out. We're just hanging out, having some drinks or not having drinks, and just kicking it.
It's nice. I like
just chilling.
Yeah.
I would normally have a beer with you, but honestly, because I have been taking painkillers off and on. I haven't taken very many. I have done really well, I feel like, of not taking painkillers nearly as much as I could be. Really trying to spread those out and not take them because they have side effects and,
Yeah.
But
well, also, maybe you have to, run for your life at this situation.
Yeah.
Zombies may come and knock on your door. You
ready.
never know at this point.
I'm screwed right now. Like,
this is a crazy life
I'm
right
so
now,
screwed.
man.
Because if I take this boot off, my ankle's just worthless. I'm just, I'm in trouble.
You just put wheels on the bottom of it.
God, wish I could.
Just plant get the frame mounted on, and it'll be all right.
Yeah.
But you'll have to get a boot for the other one too.
What about one of those old timey skates where they got like
the straps that go over your shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need one wide enough to fit that boot.
This is a huge boot. I probably just need a skateboard. I can strap it to the skateboard.
I mean, that would work, right?
I could never skateboard though, y'all. I
can't either.
Real bad at it. Real bad.
Just attach yourself. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Get a scooter.
There you go. Yeah.
Put your boot on the scooter and just go.
Yeah.
Well, Wookie, one of our other league mates, Wookie of the Year.
Oh yeah.
So she's broken her ankle a few times, and so she has all the things for ankle breaks, and she has a peg leg that I was hoping that in the next couple days she can teach me how to use, because supposedly I'll be able to get around a lot better with that than with crutches. It's a lot easier, she says. So I'm gonna try it out. It straps to your thigh, and you kneel on it. It's like a crutch that you kneel on, and you strap it to your thigh, and adjust the peg part for your height, and just essentially walk on it.
Yeah,
like a peg leg. So, and your leg is just bent back behind you a little bit.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm a little bit afraid of it because I'm, But
anything beats crutches, man.
Yeah, it's got to be better than
crutches.
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 Yeah, fuck crutches, man.
Crutches are the fucking worst.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that they hit stuff. You get them caught on stuff.
It's just uncomfortable in your armpit too.
I have been doing the Violet method though, that you push down more with your arms, which she said was wrong, but it's what she did. Instead of just bearing the weight all in your armpits, you're actually using your arms and pushing down more when you use them. So
yeah,
it's not digging in my pits nearly as bad. And hey, maybe my arms are getting a workout. I was planning on working on my upper body some, so.
Yeah, they just make me look for a place to sit. So the exact opposite of what you probably should be doing in that situation,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like it's probably easier for me to be broken and not be so afraid. It's like when you had your injury and couldn't bear weight and stuff, because you're like 1,000,000 feet tall and it's way farther if you fall. Like I don't like falling, but like if I know if I do, it's like there's 6 inches between me and the ground most of the time, so it's cool.
There's a good oh shit second before I hit.
I have no seconds to worry about it is the deal. Especially if I fall in derby, because I'm already like down low like this. So if I fall, it's like there's no time to think about it. I'm just on the ground and picking myself up, so it's not a big deal.
I'm just so like, for me it's not even the fall. It's just that I'm so big that it feels so awkward because I take up so much space when I fall. And I'm like...
You feel like you don't fall small?
Yeah, I don't fall small. Like, I'm hitting other people. My legs are in the way. Like, it's not pretty.
In a contact sport, that may be the best, right?
Well, you can get a penalty if it's, like, a low block. Like, if someone were to trip over me.
Or a high block, yeah. I mean, it depends on if you're taking them out in a legal way. So there have been times where... one player like takes out their whole team, their own team, like and then it's just a tangled mess of like, oh shit, that was not right. We didn't do that one right.
My own jammer before.
Well, I think we all have. I have done that
because you get so lost sometimes,
especially like when we do scrimmages, because that's of course a mashup. We mix normally A and B team players, and we just split up that night and throw on black and white, and then sometimes at halftime we'll switch up players. So the first half I might have been blocking against this person, and then the next time they're on my team and I just have a little brain hiccup and I'm like, I did that in the scrimmage. I'm like, and finally they're like, pup, I'm on your team, and I'm like, oh shit, you are.
Yeah.
Well, also
Sorry.
If you're a blocker, they're coming up behind you, right? You don't have eyes in the back of your head.
Yeah.
I'm sure that gets strange sometimes.
Some of that, because your head is on a swivel, so in theory you're like normally looking down, like you're looking down kind of, well, you're bent low, so you're kind of looking down, but also kind of behind you. So you're looking down like this, and you kind of see them, out of the corner of your eye coming up behind you. So you can see the color of their jersey. Also, you're glancing over your shoulder kind of behind you to see, like, who's coming up and how far away they are. Or your brace, if she's really awesome, is communicating all that to you, and you just stare her straight in the eyes and make that golden contact, and she just tells everything to you. But if I'm your brace, then I'm going to be shouting words that that sometimes it's not the right words.
It's fine.
Or they're delayed.
It's fine.
I'm thinking all the things. They don't always come out my mouth.
How far do you guys play? Like, where all you guys go to play?
Texas, Mississippi,
Memphis, we were supposed to go to. Louisiana.
There's a really awesome tournament that we have done previous years in Nashville.
Wasn't there also one that they did last year in North Carolina?
Yeah, the Queens went to North Carolina last year. Obviously, it's not a team group going together, but several of us have gone or planned, or like this year we're going to RollerCon in Vegas. But that's not as a team going to play. That's more individual players going to play in mashups and scrimmages and things like that. So, and also just to have fun on the strip and be a whole bunch of nerdy derby ladies all together. So
yeah, why not, right?
Yeah.
RollerCon. That's like what goes on at RollerCon? Just those things? Just a bunch of people?
My plans for this year were to have a derby ceremony and actually marry my derby wife. And
fancy.
They do little ceremonies. Because she became my derby wife over many, many margaritas. And
as they do.
Yeah. And I gave her a little plastic ring. You know the rings that they stick in cupcakes?
Yeah.
That was her her engagement ring was one of those little cupcake rings.
I proposed to my derby wife with a ring with a cat on it, and that was how I won her over, I think. Her name is Biggie Malls, and I love her.
Yeah. My derby wife left. She plays for a league in California now. She left me.
Long distance
It's
love.
okay. It's fine. It's okay.
Those are hard to work out, so they say.
It's fine. I mean, her husband had moved out there first, so, like, I mean, I guess she had to go too.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
It was her first husband, not her wife, I guess.
Yeah, you know. But he's no longer in the picture, so I'm number one now.
So you're moving in now.
That's
there
right. Like, I'm number one, so love of her life. We actually were planning a couples cruise
I love
a few months ago. Well, because couples packages are cheaper.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So we were going to do this couples package, and I just couldn't get the time off from work, so.
Well, now we have so much time.
Yeah, right?
But
we just
now,
can't go
time.
anywhere.
But now we can't go, because she was wanting to go into Mexico at the time. I'm really bummed about that, because I had some really awesome trips planned this year, and now I don't know if any of them are going to happen, or, you know, because the RollerCon thing, like, yeah, I can still get to Vegas, but I don't know if RollerCon is going to go on or not. We have to wait and see.
Well, right now you can still get to Vegas.
True.
That could change tomorrow.
Could.
This shit
And, like,
is
I had
day by day.
I had a
Yeah.
September trip to Orlando planned.
It's just like in the last, like since the beginning of March, everything that has changed.
Yeah.
Like it's just so fast.
Yeah.
Now.
And it's fast for us, but like I was talking with Squirrel, she's my uptown squirrel. That's my Derby wife. I was talking with her last night, and like she's in California, so they've actually beginning of March.
Yeah.
And you know, our league just called it last week on practices, you know. So
well, it's been exponential. So I think this whole thing started like late November.
Yep. Last year.
Over in China.
Yep.
Italy, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just grown exponentially. I think I saw something recently where, like the people just from the beginning of March, the people have gotten infected till now is more than triple what it was from November to December.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just because of the growth in it.
Yeah.
And
Well, what's happening in Italy is just heartbreaking.
Well, that's why they want
crazy.
people to stay, you know,
Stay
socially
inside.
distanced. Because
yeah.
I have a friend that really, because I was kind of going, I mean, but I have a friend that's a doctor that broke it down for me and just really explained it really simply, in a way that I can understand it. He said, if you've got a hospital that has 30 respirators and you have 50 people that need them immediately because they can't breathe on their own, then 20 people you have to choose are not going to get those respirators.
That's what I think.
Which is what happened in Italy, or is happening. You know, that you have to start picking and choosing who you're going to help because you don't have enough, you can't handle the volume.
That's one of the things that I feel like people don't understand quite so much is like, yes, we're doing this so that you and your family can stay safe, but we're trying not to overwhelm the hospitals. Because at this point, like, it's likely that you or someone you know, or, you know...
Because they would really rather keep everybody, like, in nice, comfortable hospital rooms and not have people in, you know, like, makeshift sheds.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
and at
medical
some point,
sheds.
we can't even do that.
Yeah, there's
which
only
is what's
so many
happening in
hospital
Italy.
beds. There's only so many places you can stick people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, you know what's going on in Italy where it's like, well, what is your likelihood of surviving this? And that's what we don't want to get to in this country, you know.
Yeah.
We want to be ahead of it. Stop it. We can't contain it, but we can slow it. And that's what we got to do.
Squirrel said that, so California has been maybe talking about doing kind of like a state lockdown kind of deal, because they're like number 3 on the infected list.
I think
the third state, so.
New York, I think they're 5% of all cases, either cases or deaths. I can't remember which one, but yeah, New York alone. It's crazy.
Well, and I have a friend that's in the Hoboken area, and he was like, well, but it feels pretty calm there because they've been dealing with it for so many more weeks than now that it's hitting kind of the inner parts of America. So he's like, he said that what I was telling him about in this last week or so that's happening is kind of just locally is the stuff that he was going through a few weeks before, like a month before. So that they, you know, New York just got it earlier because they have so much international travel. So, and I think the same thing with California because they're coastal, because they, you know, the LA area, they get, you know, lots of international travel.
The population is so much greater as well.
There's that too, yeah. So.
Which honestly makes it even scarier because they're not honestly,
how can you social distance in New York City? Because everybody's just.
I mean that for sure. It's everybody stacked on top of everybody.
Yeah.
But on top of that, with them being so much further ahead of, say, us, in confirmed numbers, they're still scrambling.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, what is this gonna look like for us in the coming weeks?
We still have very low numbers.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's fucking crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
But maybe
it's crazy.
Maybe we'll benefit from that because we started the things that they maybe were slower to do, and we started them immediately with the whole social distancing.
Well,
so maybe we'll keep those numbers low.
We're fortunate that we are much more rural, so we're much more distant anyway.
What does that look like for tattoo artists? Like through all of
that's
this
what I was
craziness.
thinking. I need to go get my hair cut, and I'm kind of like, I wonder if my salon would let me.
What does that look like?
If they're
for
taking
you
appointments.
So most there are several states right now that have shut down all salons, tattoo studios, nail
places.
Yeah, all of that.
Salons, yeah.
Just shut down all of that. A lot of places right now in Arkansas are voluntarily shutting down, like very recently.
I think one of the tattoo artists that I follow at Golden Lotus they said that they were just doing appointments only, like that you have to have an appointment. Like we're not doing walk-ins.
They're shut down now.
Okay.
That was kind of the start of it. Limit the numbers.
Yep.
Now it's even gone further.
Yep.
A lot are voluntarily just shutting down, just to see what's going to happen, really.
Well, right, because you have no control over the person that comes and sits in your chair.
Yeah, actually really recently, I went in and Sherry, she was like, hey, so check this out. She was like, because she comes in early anyway, because she gets off early because of her kid. So she was like, hey, check this out. So I had an appointment show up, and her friend came in, and she was like, hey, she's got bronchitis. Is it cool?
No.
Because we were not doing walk-ins anyway. We were doing appointment only, that whole situation. And Sherry was like, no, like, what is she, like, has she seen a doctor? And she was like, no, she's just got a little cough. It's some allergies.
She has
bronchitis,
but hasn't seen a doctor to know that it's bronchitis.
Like, because that's how dumb people are. Like,
yeah.
No, we're not going to risk that.
But I will say that I have had bronchitis enough and sinus infections enough that I know when I have a sinus infection, dude. I've never once been wrong. I do go to the doctor, obviously, but I mean, I know when I go in, I'm like, dude, I have a sinus infection. Doctor's like, yep.
Those symptoms are similar, though.
But yeah, that's my thing. But in this time, even though I know that this feels like, I don't think I would treat it the same as what I'm saying. Like, before this, I would totally be one of those people that's like, I have a sinus infection. Don't worry about it. It's allergy season, and my sinuses are just messing me up.
Yeah.
But, like, my mom is the same way, and so she was actually going to come down and check on, her lame daughter. And she was kind of like, but my sinuses are really acting up. And she's like, and I'm just going to stay home, She's almost 100% sure that it's just her allergies. And, of course, today she's pretty much the same, and it's actually a little bit better. And she's like, yeah, it's just my allergies.
Yeah.
I had read.
But just being safe and smart, like, it might be bronchitis, but let's not take chances.
I had read an article that talked about a lot of people near the tail end of last year that had similar symptoms. That went in and got tested for flu during flu season,
right?
And tested negative, but it could have been
COVID.
Yeah,
right.
Because the it's not going to show up on a flu test,
right?
But the symptoms are so similar that they got misdiagnosed as like respiratory infections,
right,
and things like that.
Yeah,
which makes sense as especially as infectious as it is and how fast it's spreading.
Yeah, we had
crazy.
At Starbucks, there was a woman, and this was right after I left, so it makes me even more mad. But one of my coworkers was working in the drive-thru window, and this woman thought it would be funny to cough in her face on purpose, laugh about it, and drive off. And I was like, what kind of disrespectful piece of shit do you have to be? Like, not like, in general, that's a shitty thing to do, but especially during a pandemic like this that is like we haven't been through anything like this before in our lifetimes, and you're gonna go around coughing in people's faces like an asshole. Like, I just don't understand.
Somebody that doesn't understand what's going on. They are in a state of disbelief, denial, all that stuff, and they're
it's
not
those assholes that are going to spread it around.
They're not taking it seriously yet, though.
Yeah, to be honest with you, and this may just be me getting older. It seems like that younger generation, they just don't understand what's going on.
Well, it's like spring break. People are still at the beaches.
Yeah.
People are still in Miami partying like nothing is going on. And I'm like, what is wrong with you guys?
Yeah. But again, though, it's a double-edged sword. Like, if somebody's not out spending money and stimulating the economy, what's this aftermath going to look like? It's a double-edged sword, man.
Well,
we can't win either way.
That's why I think right now it's all about, like, being smart. Like, okay, you have bronchitis. Don't go out.
Yeah.
Like,
don't try to go to a tattoo parlor with your friends.
Exactly.
Yes.
Excuse me.
All right, now hold on.
No, I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Whoa, ma'am.
No. Whoa.
Shit. I just got excited and like choked on my own spit a little bit. That's all that was. I was just choking on my own spit, I swear.
Please remind me to clean that mic after you leave.
Yes, ma'am. No, but like you just have to be smart about it and like not like you can still go out. They're not telling you don't go out at all. Like, I have not heard that, right? So isn't that what it is? Like, you're not.
It's essential trips.
Well,
right. It's just like minimize how many people you're around.
Yeah.
And if you have any sort of, sick symptoms, then stay your ass home.
Yeah. I think, well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, you can't, if you shut everything down, we're all fucked in the aftermath. Or all the little guys are fucked in the aftermath. Right. If you keep people going out, we're all fucked by the sickness. So there's a weird balance there.
Yep.
And nobody knows where it's at, and nobody knows how long it's gonna last, and it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
and it's wild.
That's one of those things that's like, especially like at work until we shut down, it was one of the things that we were trying to deal with is like everyone was so scared. And it was like trying to tell these people that things were going to be okay when you don't even feel like they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like you're, to put it, like, I mean, almost like in a war zone, where it's like you're telling these people, like, we're going to be fine, it's going to be fine, but you have no fucking clue if you're going to be fine or not. You don't know what the next 6 months or the next year is going to look like. And
exactly.
It's weird.
It's very weird. It's unprecedented.
Yeah.
None of us have seen this shit.
Yeah, especially because, like, they've said that, like, they could see this going, like, this quarantining go up to, like, 8 months. It's like...
Yeah. Well, I think recommended, it's, if you are confirmed with COVID, it's a 14 to 21 day quarantine. So...
Well, that's the thing, and I'm me, like many other people, because it's, like, trending on Netflix right now, the old movie Outbreak. So they're talking about viruses like Ebola, those diseases that are just like super scary, right? But there's I don't want to say benefit, but one of the things about something like a virus or infection like that, it has such a short time from the time that you get it to the time that you are severely ill with it. Is that the incubation period? I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
Whereas
that's so short that you can track it.
Yeah.
But if it's 2 weeks or longer, like you can go so long without showing any symptoms, or maybe you won't ever show very many symptoms because you're just super healthy and it just bounces off of you. So you have no idea you're spreading it. I mean, at least with something like Ebola, which obviously we don't want that kind of stuff. Nobody wants to bleed out of their orifices. But at least with that, it's really freaking obvious that, that something's wrong and that you've got it, and it's maybe easier to track that way. When you've got something that's so sneaky and that is so like some other minor sicknesses like colds and
easily disguised.
Right. Yeah. And then also has such this long incubation period where you can just be like spreading it and not know it.
Exactly.
It's like, it almost seems worse. I hate to say that because obviously we don't want an outbreak of something like Ebola, but at the same time, this is just so darn sneaky and difficult
Well, that's why it's so everything is so up in the air at this point, because there is such a long incubation period, and it's so easily disguised, and and that's why no one knows how long this will last, because man, if everybody completely quarantined at this point, we're still looking at a month, before we can get back to normal, and that's if we can get everyone to cooperate on the same page, and there's no way we'll ever do that.
No.
You got people coughing in people's fucking faces, for Christ's sakes.
Just for funsies.
Yeah, Jesus.
Asshole.
Somebody, that same day, it was Monday, we come into work, and someone had spray painted Asa Save Us on our dumpster. I shit you not. It's
God.
like they have a concrete wall around our dumpster, and they spray painted Asa Saves Us on it. We were like, what the fuck, dude?
Jesus.
It's like, you really are doing the most right now. Like, Asa's really going to come over to our Starbucks and see your message there and be like, the people need me. This is the one.
Yeah. Somebody get word to him quick. Call him. Call his cell phone.
He's
I know. I'll leave a message on the dumpster.
He's self-quarantined. Can't get to him.
See, yeah.
At least he gave us liquor deliveries.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So that helps, I guess.
I have my own liquor delivery system. It's Nikki. Really, I know, right?
Wait, so
wish my ankle was broken right now.
wait, so who's delivering liquor?
Restaurants are allowed to. Yeah.
All in restaurant dining is shut down. Drive-through, pickup, or delivery only, and most restaurants have elected to deliver themselves.
I just didn't know liquor was part
because
of that.
Because that keeps that probably keeps their staff with jobs, like if they're delivering.
Yes.
Instead
your waiters and waitresses can deliver
right
at this point, and
make some money.
Yeah, the liquor helps keep people from going out and getting crazy.
Definitely.
Yeah,
stay in and be crazy.
It's a weird time, man. It's a weird time.
Yeah, we're gonna make it though.
We will. We'll make it through.
We will.
I just told Nikki, I was like, I just realized I don't have any wine, and I just need some. And she was like, okay, cool. And I normally buy like a bottle here or there, like, so I have a bottle or two of wine in my house at most times, and I didn't this weekend, and so Nikki hooked me up because that girl wasn't playing. She just brought me this giant box. And then I had to ask her, I don't know how to open this. How do you do box wine?
Oh, I'm going to stock up on box wine.
Not that I have never had box wine, but I've never bought it. So I was like, how do I open it?
I think that was a staple of my college experience was wine guy with the bagged wine.
Yeah.
You'd slap the bag and get your wine.
I mean, I've always drank really classy stuff.
Super nice.
When I was underage. No, I didn't underage drink. I did. It was like
we're
for me. I waited until I was 21.
Nerd.
I mean, I did, but here's the deal: I did it like all in like pretty much 1 year, like or between my 10th and 11th grade year. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna be cool and I'm gonna drink with my friends. But honestly, by my senior year, I didn't at all because I was kind of like, God, puking sucks. I'm done. Done with it. And so then didn't drink again until like later in college, but when we'd go camping, I feel like we were smart about it. Of course, we're in the country, there's nothing else to do, so we'd like go throw up some tents, get a campfire, have pizza, and always brownies, because one of our friends' moms, like, she knew what we were doing. She's like always make us brownies and send us with pizza and Funyuns, and then we'd have every time a bottle of vodka. And then to chase it, we'd have Boone's Farm.
Nice.
Some Strawberry Hill. So
I remember mixing Everclear with Kool-Aid powder and sugar and getting the worst hangovers of my life.
Like you do.
Yeah.
One time when we were just like scraping for money to buy alcohol for like post football game on a Friday night, we bought, like, no joke, a half gallon of some gut rot whiskey for like $5-6 for a half gallon. So that stuff was gross. And we mixed it with root beer.
I worked terrible jobs in high school, like fast food restaurants. I worked on a dairy farm for a while, and just after school or before school, shit like that. So never made that much money, but I once spent an entire tax return check. So a couple $100 on booze for a party. And it was all cheap shit, so we could get the most bang for our buck for that same situation.
I did that for my 21st birthday. Yeah. I spent like $200 on alcohol, and I was like, "Why the fuck did I spend $200 on alcohol?"
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Too late now.
The most like ridiculous, like you're just gonna waste it, thing I think I've spent a crap ton of money on was fireworks. You know, several $100s that I put in with my family so we could have a great big, you know, redneck. Well, we're not rednecks. Nobody in my family is rednecks, but we are in a redneck area. No, seriously, my mom and my stepdad are both mental health therapists, and like they're, you know, pretty cool people, but we do live out in the sticks, where I grew up, and so we still have some pretty kick-ass, you know, firework shows, and that's, you know, it's like let's buy $1,000 worth of fireworks and really blow some shit up.
Was it a good time?
Oh, it always is.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah, we do it every year, pretty much.
I haven't fucked around with fireworks in a while because I think I was like 19, and we had Roman candles, and we did Wizarding Wars, where you turn your backs to each other and walk 10 paces, turn around and shoot each other with them. I got shot in the head and like burned my hair, and I was like, all right, I'm out.
We had Roman candle wars, Yeah. My uncle, he like takes it, he does hardcore fireworks, so we all put in for these great big fireworks and everything, but then he like will like braid, you know,
all of the fuses together
and he like screws in these great big tubes onto like a nice big board so they won't fall over, and then we use like an acetylene torch to light them. We'll just go straight across with a big old torch, so you light like 6 of them at a time, and then you've got it. And I was always like, yes, I want to use the torch. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
that's the fun part.
So when you get to be about like 12 or 13, then it's like, yes, you can use the torch. You know, like you're old enough.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you won't kill yourself.
Maybe. You probably won't kill yourself.
You probably won't.
And I knew I was getting old when it's like the last couple times that it was like, okay, it's time. And I was like, I don't really want to light the fireworks. Can I just sit back and watch them?
Yeah, that's really, and truly, that's the jam.
And then but then I realized, okay, I'm getting old because I didn't just run up because honestly, to sit there and do an hour and a half lighting fireworks, you get hot and sweaty. Yeah, because you're running away from. Because obviously you light them, you have to run clear. You know, set them up. It's summer. We're in Arkansas, so it's an armpit down here anyway in July.
Exactly.
So
that shit's cool. Like when you're young and energetic and you're doing shit. You're like, check me out. This is rad.
And then you get old and you're like, I just want to drink and watch it.
Exactly. I'm gonna have a drink in my hand and chill. Just
so
maybe eat some watermelon.
But now I have nieces and nephews that are, you know, super excited to do it. So I'm kind of like, you know, and Uncle John, he does all the prep work, and then he like pretty much now he just overseas and normally has a young assistant to do the running back and forth and the lighting. So
hopefully by then all this craziness is over.
Yes, I mean, I hope so.
And
let it be over by July so that I can still go to RollerCon, because I will be back on skates by then, y'all. So come on.
Yeah,
I mean,
I hope that we at least get to play another game this season. That was what I was thinking about. Like, I really hope that we get to play another game this season. But
what does the schedule look like right now? What are you guys canceled up to?
So our first April home game was April 18th.
Yep.
We've canceled that. And then there's talks of us having to cancel.
The next game was the May game, but it's an away game. Yeah. So, actually, I think both of our teams had an away game in May?
I think so.
Or
no, I think it's just Brawlers. I don't know.
Is that the Memphis game?
Yes.
So we were supposed to go to Memphis in May, I think. I might have that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where we're going.
Yeah.
And so that's obviously a maybe.
Right.
That's a maybe.
Yeah. At this point. Yeah.
Our tournament is June 19th through the 21st, and I'm hoping that everything.
We've put a lot of work into the tournament. It's the first Derby tournament in Arkansas like this. The Diamond Derby Classic, and we were having it in Conway at the convention center, and it's kind of a big deal to have like a big tournament with like teams from half a dozen states coming, Kansas and Florida, coming to play in this tournament, and have a couple days long derby, just back-to-back games. And it's a big thing to put on. We've got committees for everything. And it's going to be kind of heartbreaking to have to cancel it, but we got to do what we got to do.
Sure.
So.
In this time of crisis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully by then everything's back to normal.
Yes.
Yep.
Let's all cross our fingers and toes.
Yep.
But if so people can find the schedule.
So we actually have a website. Rocktown Roller Derby has their own. We actually have a website that has all of our info, history, and all that. But of course, there's also the Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter.
Because you can say right there, that's our game schedule, and it'll give you reminders as it comes up and all that good stuff.
Yep, you can follow it, and it'll pop up when we have other things besides games. So we do appearances sometimes. Like last year, we did a quiz night. We do meet and greets, that kind of thing. So,
yeah, and obviously, if you're able to keep up with our Facebook page or Instagram, as we know what we're going to cancel, what we're not going to, we will let the public know. So,
sure.
If things get back to normal in a reasonable amount of time, and we can reschedule with the teams that we had to cancel on, then we'll reschedule and try to work out a venue. If of course the Arkansas Stadium has a availability, or if we have to go somewhere else, then if we can reschedule those games, we will. So
yeah, definitely. And I think most people in this situation, everybody's kind of scrambling. Yeah. So everyone's trying to figure out later dates when they can and how it goes. But yeah, this is everybody in this situation.
Just a weird time.
It is, man. It is. Well, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you so much for having us. It was awesome.
Yeah, this was a good time.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. And as soon as this shit turns around and we're not isolated and trying to stay away from everybody, I hope to come see you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I will try to connect with you guys whenever we know. Whenever
we pretty much have announcers locked down, but every once in a while they need announcers when our other key people are busy. So hey, we can always hit you up for that.
I know how to talk into a microphone.
Right, if you're comfortable talking in front of people, it's perfect. Because our last game last season, they were kind of like, hey, pup, our main two announcers that are used to doing that are, because you want to announce during the Queen's game? And I went, you're shitting me. No. Because somebody just on the Facebook page was like, pup should do it. And I just went, no. Are you kidding? Wrong person. Who are you talking to? They always put me up for stuff like this. And I'm always like, not the one, not the kid.
You done great. You done fantastic.
Yeah. But that's because I'm just in this little room.
Not in
and
front
I'm
of
pretending that there's not people that are listening or gonna listen or looking at me. It's just me, and I'm just having a little conversation. So I'm cool. You put me in front of 200 people, and I'm gonna stutter and cough a whole bunch, and
it's the same thing, just more numbers. That's all. The same thing. Yeah. You got it. You're a champ. You're a pro. Yeah. You've proven it.
Still not signing up for any of those things. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
It's not my thing.
I'm sure playing's funner anyway.
It is funner.
Well, that's the thing, is I also desperately just want to be on the track and not on the sideline, so,
Yeah. Well, I hope to check you guys out. It sounds like a lot of fun.
It is awesome. Yes.
It sounds like all the fun things about all the sports that I know.
We also have beer gardens. I guess that I should... Yeah, we have a beer garden.
Yeah,
really?
Stone Throw Brewery and Buffalo Brewing.
Nice.
Yep. And Buffalo Brewing has done a couple of beers and a cider that
they named after us.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
yeah, it's really cool. You can actually get them if you go on their location. I think at least to Buffalo Brewing, they sometimes will have it on tap, and you can go get it. I think it was the Breakneck Queen. I feel so bad for not knowing it right now.
I mean,
but you can get it.
I never actually get to drink them because I'm playing and doing teardown and all that stuff, and we can't drink, when we're doing all that stuff. And so normally by the time I'm ready for a beer, they've already shut down and packed it in and everything. So,
but for all of you guys, you can come watch us play, have a beer.
Yeah, it's perfect.
You can bring your kids. It is a family function. We have things to do for the kids, so it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
I'm stoked to check it out
as
soon as the world goes back to normal.
Yes.
Yep. We're on pause right now.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah.
And the whole world is. We're all in this together.
We got this.
And don't cough in people's face.
Don't cough in people's face. Don't spray paint messages to the governor.
On dumpsters.
Yeah, at least like on your own property.
He's not the one that empties those.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it on his car. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Get real.
Yeah.
He's not ever gonna see that dumpster.
Yeah. You think you're so edgy. Get real edgy with it.
Get real edgy. Be a real punk. Grow up a little bit. Yeah. Thanks again for coming, you guys.
Thank you so
in
much
this
for having
weird
us. That was
time.
awesome.
Yep.
I'm really glad
Hey,
you
y'all
guys
got
could
me
be
out of
here.
the house for the first time this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. Self-quarantined because you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still going into work, but I work also in like my office. I'm really only around a handful of people anyway.
Yeah.
And but I also have the ability to work from home to a certain degree, so I have done that. Obviously, I had to do that when I was less mobile in these last 2 weeks, but I have gotten into the office some, and will probably continue. I'll probably do a combo. There'll probably be some.
Hopefully, as long as they keep you working. At this point, I think that's a lot of people's thing.
The deal is that if everybody works from home, then the system kind of slows down.
I mean, it has to.
Right? So it's kind of like it's kind of a combo. It's like, we'll take turns working from home and some of us going into the office. So
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep.
Strange times, man. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm sure we'll catch you next week. It's a weird time. A lot of weird things going on. And you know where to find us, and now you know where to find them. They got a website, Rocktown
Roller Derby.
.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Hit them up. Check them out once things go back to normal. And we'll catch you next time.
Yeah.
Later.
Thanks.